Gogeta's and Broly's powers had become so massive that when the two Saiyans clashed, they tore through reality and found themselves in a dimension that hid between space and time. With Broly fueled by rage and Gogeta fueled by desperation, the two charged towards each other and their fists clashed. Their collision exploded with devastating power and completely shattered the pocket dimension they found themselves in. Warping back to Earth, a still healthy and barely tired Gogeta saw Broly lying on a warm field of grass. Gogeta had won the battle. But little did the fused Saiyan warrior know, after escaping the pocket dimension, he didn't return to the place and time he once knew. Gogeta had decided to check to see if the once stranded Saiyan mutant still had a pulse.
I can't believe it. He's still alive after all of that. I can't believe even going Super Saiyan Blue wasn't enough to take him down permanently. What is he? I should probably kill him now. But he's way too good of a fighter to go to waste. If he learned how to control his power, he might end up being the best sparring partner I've ever had. Maybe Beerus and Whis could get a handle on him. Speaking of Whis, where'd he go? Where am I? This wasn't the place I was at before. Whis! Bulma!
Since he couldn't see or feel Whis or Bulma, he decided to look for his arch-nemesis, Frieza, instead.
What's going on? I can't even sense Frieza's energy. Did he die because of the injuries he got from Broly? No, there's no way. He must have left the planet. But this fast? Maybe I just have to concentrate harder.
Gogeta focused his ki even more. He felt a faint flicker of energy in the distance.
I'm sensing 2 low power levels that's real far from here, practically hundreds of miles away. No, it can't be. Is that Raditz?
It's one of my favorites. I call it a double sundae. Now, see if you can follow this one.
Raditz's scouter had picked up an abnormal power level that shouldn't have existed on a planet that had as weak inhabitants as Earth's. It was a power that immediately put the fear of the gods in Bardock's eldest son.
What kind of enormous energy signature is coming from the east? Is that Kakarot? No, impossible. He can't be that strong. What is going on? It keeps rising. Power level 10,000, 20,000, over 30,000? It's going even higher, and damn it!
Then, the scouter broke, alongside a portion of Raditz's sanity, since he couldn't believe what he'd just seen.
This doesn't make any sense. From what I know, Earth shouldn't be capable of producing someone with a power level of 30,000. No, it could actually be way higher. The power level was still growing rapidly when the scouter broke. This is insane.
Raditz looked to Piccolo for the answers. But Piccolo, who could still barely move when feeling Raditz's own absurd amounts of power, had no idea why the sane visitor was acting so strangely.
You, Green Man! Who's over there? What kind of fighter does this planet have that has such an incredible power?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're looking at the strongest fighter the Earth has to offer. There's only one other person on this planet who comes close to my level, and pretty soon, he won't be an issue after I'm through with him.
What? So, not even this weakling knows about the power my scouter just picked up. This other person he's talking about, who rivals his power, must be Kakarot. It has to be. That would make the most sense. But then, if that's the case, who the hell is that powerful fighter over in that direction? Could Zarbon have come here earlier to scout the Earth? Or maybe someone from the Ginyu Force? Whatever the case, I should at least go investigate to make sure. If Zarbon or someone from the Ginyu Force is here, I wouldn't want to cause a conflict of interest. I should be able to track the location of this warrior based on the data my scouter provided before it exploded. The power level should be in that direction.
Without even acknowledging Piccolo, Raditz flew away, soaring towards the direction where his scouter detected the power level. Piccolo looked on at the stranger, gripped with fear and disbelief. Who the hell was that? And what was he talking about? There's another massive power on this planet. Or was he just out of his mind? Let me see if I can sense anything. What am I sensing? There are two power levels that are far stronger than anything that should even exist. They're both monstrous. One power level is dark, angry, full of rage. The other one is calmer, but still frighteningly overwhelming. At the same time, why does it feel like I've encountered something similar before? It's like I'm sensing billions of Gokus. Meanwhile, as Gogeta was contemplating using his instant transmission to teleport to the two vaguely familiar power levels, his senses picked up one of the weaker power levels, moving towards his location like a radar.
One of the small powers is headed this way, so it looks like I won't need to use my instant transmission to go to them. But could it really be Raditz? There's no way. That guy, my brother, is history.
All Gogeta felt he could and should do was conserve energy and wait for this stranger to come to him. And as Raditz drew closer, Bardock's eldest son could make out the two figures in the distance.
Huh. Who are those two? They're standing in the area that my scouter picked up their power levels from. So, it looks like that power didn't come from anyone in Frieza's army after all. I should have known. That megalomaniac wouldn't know about a backwater planet like this. But then, who or what am I looking at? One of them seems unconscious, maybe even dead. That guy wearing the vest looks a little familiar. I feel like I've seen him before. If I didn't know better, I'd think these two were Saiyans. They certainly have the hair. Wait, no way. What am I thinking? They can't be Saiyans. There are only 4 of us left. Besides, these guys don't even have tails. However, if they're even half as strong as my scouter said they are, I don't see how they can be Earthlings either. Not unless this planet's hiding a few mutants that no one knew about.
When Raditz landed in front of Gogeta, Gogeta felt like he was seeing a ghost. Literally. And this was coming from a man who was made up of 2 beings who'd already died several times.
Well, it almost looks like you've been waiting for me. Whoever you are.
No. It can't be. It can't be you. I must be dreaming or something.
He knows me? How? Or maybe he's confusing me for someone else. One thing's for sure, though. This guy seems terrified of me. Something he wouldn't be if he was as strong as my scouter claimed. That just proves it. My scouter must have malfunctioned again, just as it did a couple of weeks back when me and Nappa attacked planet Cornelis. I knew I had nothing to fear. But yet, why are my legs still shaking a little? It's as if my body knows something about this man that I don't.
Still, a cautious and unsure Raditz approached the situation as carefully as he could. He composed himself and tried to maintain his dominance and control over the situation.
You know me? How? Tell me!
Gogeta couldn't even speak for a while. He stuttered, gasping and breathing hard, trying to collect his thoughts, trying to make sense out of an impossible situation.
Answer me, damn it! How do you know me?
Ah, wait a minute. I get it. You must know someone named Kakarot. He must have told you about me.
In the end, all Gogeta could say was,
You're supposed to be dead.
Huh? What? What are you talking about? Who are you? Are you from this planet? And do you know Kakarot?
Well, the answer to that is a little complicated, but not as complicated as this whole situation. Boy, I must have hit my head hard during my fight with Broly.
But as Gogeta's brain ran circles around him in an attempt to find an explanation for these bizarre and unusual circumstances, he heard what sounded like Broly stirring awake. He turned around and saw the Berserker Saiyan slowly shifting, indicating he was about to regain consciousness.
Oh, great. As if I didn't have enough to deal with. Hopefully he'll be in a better mood when he wakes up and...
But before Gogeta could finish that sentence, he felt it. The degradation of his body. The slow diffusion between the 2 souls that made up his being.
No. Not now. This is the worst time to diffuse.
There was a blinding light brighter than anything Raditz had ever seen in his life. Raditz had to cover his eyes, wondering if he was being attacked.
What the hell? Did he just self-destruct?
But when the blinding light dimmed, he saw 2 glowing figures standing where Gogeta once was. When the glow faded, however, Raditz's jaw dropped. Goku and Vegeta, now separated into two beings once again, were equally shocked.
Crap. I thought we had another couple more minutes to stay together. Time flies, huh, Vegeta?
As Goku let out a nervous laugh, Raditz stepped a couple of inches backwards. Now he was the one who thought he was having a fever dream. He gawked at the two familiar faces in front of him, on the verge of throwing up.
There's no way! I must be seeing things! Have I gone mad? Is that really Kakarot with Prince Vegeta?
Vegeta had given Raditz the same side-eye he'd normally give him whenever Goku's brother made a mistake during one of their old missions. A look that always reminded Raditz of the giant gulf of power and status between himself and the sane prince. With a stern look that had just a touch of confusion, Vegeta said in a familiar voice that sent a chill down Raditz's spine,
I never thought I'd ever see your pitiful face again, Raditz.
As Raditz tried to comprehend what it was that he was seeing. What the Saiyans didn't realize, however, was that Goku's, Vegeta's, and Broly's accidental journey through time had already caused disastrous consequences for both the past and the future. The entire multiverse, and every timeline that existed throughout, would never be the same after this moment.
No, this can't be. This is a trick. Some kind of mind game that's being played on me so that I drop my guard. This can't be real. Look at you. You call yourself Vegeta, but you don't even have a tail. You're a fraud. And that armor? What kind of armor is that? I've never seen anyone in the Frieza Force wear a uniform with that design.
If you're so sure I'm not the real deal, how about you fight me and find out? I'm sure you'll have a much clearer head when I knock it off your shoulders.
It sounded exactly like something Vegeta would have said.
I don't understand. I don't want to believe it, but I think this really is Vegeta. He sounds and behaves too much like him. Besides, if this was really an illusion, what the hell would be the point in all of this?
Raditz did the unthinkable. He allowed himself to entertain, momentarily, that everything he was seeing before his eyes was real.
Okay, let's say I believe that you are who you say you are. Why and how are you with Kakarot? And what did I just see? How did you and my brother split from that man I was talking to just a few seconds ago?
Yeah, well, I know this is gonna sound hard to believe, but what you saw was a technique called fusion. It allows two people to combine their powers and their bodies for half an hour. It only lasts for 30 minutes, so after that time is up, the fusion wears off and people split into two again.
That's preposterous. There's no such thing as a technique like that. And even if there were, why would Vegeta fuse with you, Kakarot? And that's assuming you really are my brother. In fact, Vegeta, how did you even get here so fast? You're supposed to be on the planet Vor with Nappa. You couldn't possibly make the trek to Earth that quickly.
Those words were what was needed for things to click for Goku and Vegeta.
The planet Vor. He thinks Nappa is still alive? No, wait, it can't be. Raditz, what year is it?
What? Why? What kind of question is that?
Just tell me, you twit! What is the damn year?
Vegeta's voice carried so much weight that Raditz could practically detect the overwhelming power in it, even without a scouter, which made Raditz feel as small as the Earthlings he looked down on.
It's the age 761, of course.
Unbelievable! Now everything makes sense.
At this point to Raditz, it didn't seem like anything would make sense ever again. But Vegeta and Goku had already solved the missing piece to the jigsaw puzzle the world had become.
Why didn't we think of this before? In that fight with Broly, we traveled into that other dimension. Something must have shifted when we were in there.
If I had to guess, our fight with that freak of nature caused reality to unravel somehow, disrupting or maybe even resetting the flow of time.
While Vegeta and Goku were somewhat experts at this point in the science of time travel, to Raditz, they might as well have been speaking a different language.
What are you two talking about? I didn't understand anything you guys said. Another dimension? What?
Well, basically, how do I put this? Me and Vegeta aren't from this time. I'm pretty sure we traveled here from 20 years in the future. We come from the age 780.
Raditz had to balance himself, had to reorient, and find his footing back in reality.
Every time you damn people open your mouth, things make less and less sense.
Is this a sick joke? Time travel isn't possible. There's no such thing. What do you take me for? A fool?
Actually, I do. But that's besides the point. Let me guess what brought you to this planet. Almost a year ago, Frieza instructed us to investigate and conquer the planet Yardrat. However, we quickly discovered that the inhabitants of that planet had an artillery of unique abilities that made them difficult to handle. We thought we'd have to leave that planet to the Ginyu Force to conquer. But that's when you came up with the bright idea of recruiting Kakarot, remembering at the last minute you had a little brother who was sent to Earth, who might have been able to give us a helping hand. Now think, Raditz, how would I know all of that if I'm not who I say I am?
At this point, it wasn't that Raditz didn't believe what Vegeta was saying. It was that he didn't want to.
That's exactly what happened. So, in that case, maybe I should believe them. But if they're telling the truth, and they really are from the future, then that still doesn't explain why Vegeta and Kakarot would be so, not friendly per se, but cordial with each other. It's as if they're on the same team. Then there's that strange armor Vegeta's wearing. If they're telling the truth, what in the world is going to happen 2 decades from now?
As Raditz asked himself questions he was almost afraid to know the answers to out loud, Vegeta's body grew tense when he and Goku saw, from the corner of their eye, Broly stirring back awake and standing up. A confused and dizzy Broly opened his eyes, and Vegeta immediately adopted a slight fighting stance. Every muscle in his being went into battle mode.
Kakarot, maybe we should do that stupid fusion dance while we still can, before this monster fully wakes himself up.
However, when Broly fully opened his eyes to stare at Vegeta, Goku, and Raditz, Goku saw in Broly what Vegeta didn't or refused to. Goku saw Broly's kindness, his confusion. He saw in Broly's eyes a heart that was heavy with sadness, but as pure as the flying Nimbus.
Nah, we don't need to fuse. He's harmless right now. Besides, don't you sense his power? He still hasn't fully recovered from that beating we gave him.
Vegeta honed in on Broly's energy.
Kakarot's right. Broly is noticeably weaker right now, but we both saw how fast his power increased when we fought him. With the way his energy skyrockets, we should still be on guard. I still think we should fuse again just in case he loses control, but I'll wait and see how things play out first.
Eventually, Goku convinced a reluctant Vegeta to stand down and give Broly a chance to prove himself as a non-threat. Broly looked around, vaguely recognizing Goku and Vegeta, while having absolutely no idea who the fourth Saiyan Raditz was at all.
Where am I?
It's more like when. Man, you're not gonna believe this. Oh, and let me introduce myself properly first. My name's Goku. Not sure if you remember, but you lost control back there and tapped into a power so crazy that it surpassed my strongest form. If you remember though, we actually broke through another dimension during our fight, and because of that, we ended up traveling back in time.
When Goku had explained to Broly they had traveled to the past, Broly processed the information with the same disbelief and skepticism that Raditz had. After getting over his overwhelming shock, Broly had thought to himself out loud.
You're right, I can't believe this. I remember some things, but barely. You're saying we're in the past. Are you sure? Are we stuck here?
Well, I hope not. Luckily, I know someone who might be able to tell us what's going on. We all should head there right now to see her. Want to come with?
Obviously, Kakarot must be talking about Bulma. The woman created a time machine after all. Surely she must be able to get us out of this predicament. I'm just not so sure if taking Broly is the wisest decision. He seems calm now, but I can't help but feel we'd be putting her and everyone else in danger by having him tag along. He's too damn unpredictable. We barely even know anything about him.
With Goku, Broly, and Vegeta all deciding to visit Bulma, Raditz was the only Saiyan who hadn't yet made up his mind about where he wanted to go.
You should come with us too, Raditz. You'll get a lot of the answers you're probably wondering about. And you know, in the future, we never really got to know each other. It's kinda messed up that you're the only brother I've ever had, and we ended up being nothing but strangers. This could be a second chance for us.
What the hell? Is this man really my brother, Kakarot? Where's his ruthlessness? He sounds and acts nothing like a Saiyan. How could Vegeta even stand to be around him? But Kakarot's right about one thing. I should go with him. I can't leave and tell Nappa and the other Vegeta about this. They'd never believe I ran into, supposedly, a future version of the prince and my brother, especially when I still barely believe it myself. They'd think I simply ran away from Earth like a coward. The best thing I can do is follow these three to gather more information. That way, maybe I can eventually make sense out of all this. Sure, I'll go with you. Lead the way.
Cool, we'll all get there much quicker by using my instant transmission.
Your what?
But Goku was too distracted to answer. He looked around, searching for the power levels of his friends. It didn't take long for him to locate the energies of Krillin, Master Roshi, and even himself, all gathered at Kami House.
I can't believe it. They're all there in one spot. In fact, I remember this day. This is when I took Gohan to Master Roshi's place when he was 4 years old and introduced him to my friends. Am I actually gonna meet a past version of myself? This is crazy. Alright guys, I locked onto everyone. Broly, Raditz, I'm gonna need you two to touch my shoulders.
Broly had no problem agreeing to Goku's requests. Vegeta also touched Goku's shoulder, although he hated doing so. The only person who wasn't touching Goku at this point was Raditz, who still wasn't sure he could trust the three Saiyans.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna teleport us to where we need to be.
Teleport? How? How would you even get that ability?
I'll explain later, Raditz. Come on, just trust me. This is much quicker than flying there.
Just touch the man's shoulder so we can go. If you don't like it, you can always fly back to planet Vor and tell my past self how you ran away from Earth. I'm sure he'd understand.
Vegeta's sarcasm wasn't difficult to miss for Raditz. All things considered, Raditz might have been better off dealing with this Vegeta here instead of the Vegeta waiting for him back on planet Vor. A Vegeta who'd surely scold him for shamefully leaving a planet as allegedly weak as Earth's. Reluctantly, Raditz touched his brother's spare shoulder, and in a blink, much to Raditz's disbelief, the four warriors were gone.
Here we are, Gohan!
Goku!
Hi!
Hey, who's the kid?
You trying to earn some extra cash babysitting or something?
He's my son.
Your son? Pretty wild, huh? Wow.
Oh, Goku, he's adorable.
Yeah? What is it? What, Goku?
But past Goku felt them before he saw them.
What is going on? Am I seeing things? Who are these guys and that power? Their powers are unreal. It's like all of my insides are being crushed.
Master Roshi nor Bulma heard a word that Krillin said. In fact, they could barely hear their own thoughts. Of course, Bulma couldn't feel power levels. She was startled by two things. That four mysterious men just appeared out of thin air out of nowhere, and that one of those men, somehow, looked exactly like Goku. Past Goku thought to himself,
I see it, but I don't believe it. Where did these people come from? Their powers are terrifying. So much so, I don't think I'll ever stop shaking just from knowing people this strong exist. The guy with the long hair's power is so dark it makes my stomach crawl, and I'm practically being crushed to death by the big guy's power level, which is way stronger. I can't even feel my legs with him standing there. Then there are the other two. I can tell they're suppressed, but they're both massively strong. But maybe the more important question I should be asking myself is, why is there another me in this group? What the hell is he?
A 4-year-old Gohan did a double take. Past Goku, on instinct, couldn't help but to adopt a fighting stance as his future self approached him. But the closer future Goku got, the more at ease past Goku felt for some reason.
This is so strange. I should be scared out of my mind right now. I should be freaking out. But at the same time, there's something comforting about him. I can sense his gentleness. This can't be real.
Meanwhile, present Goku stopped a couple of inches away from his past self to get a closer look. It was like looking in a mirror, except Goku's reflection didn't even look this much like him.
Whoa, I guess Vegeta was right. Saiyans really don't age until, like, 80 or something. I looked exactly the same 20 years ago. Huh? Saiyans? What's that? Who are you? And why do you look like me?
Past Goku didn't realize it at the time, but the answer to that question would end up changing the entire trajectory of his own future forever. For better and for worse.
I know this is gonna sound strange, but I'm you. Well, a future version of you. You see, long story short, I'm pretty sure me and my friends here traveled here from 20 years in the future. I know it sounds crazy, but hey, we've all been through weirder stuff, right?
Except no, they hadn't. No one on the island had been through anything crazier than what they were experiencing at that moment.
Sorry, I don't believe you. Tell us who you really are. Probably another evil scumbag out to get revenge on Goku, right?
Any other time, maybe you'd be right, Bulma. But it really is me. I'll prove it. When I introduced my son Gohan, one of the first things you guys noticed about him was his tail. I know this because you and Master Roshi asked me back then if my son had ever looked at a full moon. Of course, back then, I didn't know why you asked that question. I had no idea what happened to me whenever I looked at a moon.
He's right. I was actually just about to ask Goku about that. But it can't be because he's from the future. There's no way. Time travel's just a myth.
Bulma, come on. You've known me longer than anybody else in this group. You know it's me. Get a good look at my face.
And Bulma did. She studied present Goku's face like it was a code she was trying to crack. All it took was a few minutes of exploring present Goku's pure, innocent, and occasionally extremely naive eyes, and she'd seen the friend she knew and loved for so long hiding inside of them.
I don't know. Logic is telling me that there's no way this person can be Goku, but there's something else inside of me that's telling me to look deeper. I don't think there's an imposter in the world that can copy those innocent features, that soft smile, those bright eyes, that familiar voice and presence that always gives me the feeling that everything's going to be okay.
Then Bulma's mouth fell through the ground. She didn't even know she uttered the words when she had told future Goku.
It is you!
She eyed both past and present Gokus at the same time, sizing them up. Although the two may have looked exactly the same, Bulma, who had the keen, analytic, perceptive eye of a scientist, could still notice slight differences between the two counterparts.
There's an edge to this alleged future Goku that his past counterpart doesn't have. Future Goku seems more mature somehow, wiser. If I let myself really believe this is Goku, just what is he going to go through in 20 years?
Past Goku agreed with Bulma's deduction. If the smartest person in the world felt future Goku was telling the truth, then there was little reason to doubt her. And since Krillin and Master Roshi had full faith in Goku's instincts, they slowly came around to the idea that present Goku was telling the truth as well. Of course, in typical Goku fashion, the first thing that came to past Goku's mind was,
"No way. If you're really me from the future, it's crazy to know how strong I'll become. It's strange. I can't really sense how strong you are, but it's like your energy has no end to it. It's bottomless. I didn't even know my body could handle that kind of power. What kind of training am I going to end up doing? Oh boy, if I told you what you're going to go through, we'd be out here talking for days. But honestly, now that you've seen us, I'm guessing your future might end up a little different from mine." Us? That's right. I was so focused on talking with my future self, I almost forgot about the 3 other guys he brought with him.
Both past Goku and Bulma looked over at the 3 men future Goku came to the island with. Vegeta tried to hide the blush in his face underneath his stoic demeanor. Of course, he'd never admit it, but Bulma's face was the only force in the universe that could soften Vegeta's once cold and impervious heart. What Vegeta didn't realize, however, was that Bulma wasn't making eye contact with him. She was making eye contact with Broly, who stood there with a lost, completely clueless expression, as if it was his first time seeing the world.
He's so tall, has amazing hair. His body is as chiseled as his face is. He kind of looks like an upgraded version of Yamcha. Am I falling in love? Snap out of it, Bulma. There are more important things to discuss.
While past Goku was bombarding his older self with questions of the future, Bulma interrupted their conversation.
Hey, future boy! In order for me to help you, you need to tell me how you ended up here in the first place. I'm sure you didn't travel to the past because you made a wrong turn somewhere.
Oh boy, how do I explain that to them? I can't tell these guys me and Vegeta fused and tried to literally kill the big guy after he lost control of his power. They'll be way too scared of him. And I can still sense they're all already scared enough as it is.
To make sure everyone remained calm and at ease around Broly, future Goku came up with a white lie.
Well, me, this guy whose name is Vegeta, and the big shirtless guy, whose name is Broly, were sparring pretty hard, using all of our power. While we sparred, we accidentally opened a hole into another dimension. When we escaped, we found ourselves back here.
Knowing Goku like the back of his hand, Vegeta already knew why his rival decided to lie to his past friends about Broly.
Kakarot must know that telling them the truth would cause a panic. But maybe they should know of Broly's immense strength and lack of control before he snaps again and catches them all off guard.
Past Goku hung on to every single word future Goku was saying, his curiosity and mild shock over the story, overshadowed by the immense show of strength his future self would have.
You've got to be kidding me. You mean to tell me I become so powerful I'll be able to break through dimensions?
Krillin was also floored at the revelation.
That's nuts. We shouldn't even be entertaining this. I have every reason to think that they're lying.
Krillin felt he and his friends should have ran for their lives. As the two Gokus talked among each other, and Bulma processed future Goku's unbelievable story, Raditz had quietly thought to himself,
The three entered another dimension just by sparring? Absurd. The only person I would even think had that kind of power would be Frieza, and even that's debatable. But then again, I've seen and experienced things today that prove these people aren't ordinary. I mean, this supposedly future version of Kakarot just teleported me here within a blink of an eye, just as he said he would. Someone with abilities like that must be formidable, to say the least.
But after examining the mountain of evidence in front of him, Bardock's eldest son had no choice but to accept all of the claims future Goku and Vegeta had made.
That settles it. The fact that there are two Kakarots here, and one of the Kakarots has no idea what in the world is going on, basically proves they really are from the future. So I'm guessing that I managed to recruit Kakarot when I came to Earth, and that's why he and Vegeta have seemingly formed an alliance. But that still doesn't explain why Kakarot behaves the way that he does. And another thing that's bugging me, if Kakarot has been on this planet this whole time, why are these humans still alive? Why isn't the Earth a barren wasteland? Why do these humans treat Kakarot as if he is one of them, and call him Goku? There are still so many things that don't add up. It's like looking at an equation with numbers that don't exist.
Meanwhile, Bulma walked a little closer to Raditz and the two other Saiyans that tagged along with present Goku, taking her sweet time admiring Broly up close.
Hey guys! Okay, so considering what future Goku told me, I'm guessing you two must be from the future too then. But what about you with the crazy long hair? Did you come along with these guys?
No, you damn Earthling. I'm from this time just like you. I'm Kakarot's brother.
First of all, how about you tone down the attitude? Earthling, isn't that what you are too? And who the hell is Kakarot?
The man who I've been overhearing you refer to as Goku for some reason.
It was a revelation that might have shaken everyone more than Goku apparently being able to go back in time.
I can't believe I'm talking to these pitiful creatures. How could Vegeta so much as stomach them?
After overcoming his shock, past Goku had told Raditz,
There's no way! If you're my brother, where have you been all this time?
Out in space pillaging and conquering worlds, which is what you should be doing, Kakarot. Our parents would be so ashamed of you.
What? What does that even mean? What are you talking about? Are you saying you hurt people?
At this point, present Goku felt tension brewing between his past self and Raditz, and had decided to interfere and leak some information about his past self's true origins before things got out of hand. But before present Goku did that, that's when Master Roshi stepped in.
Goku! There's something your grandfather once told me that I think you should know.
The wise turtle hermit explained that his grandfather, the legendary Grandpa Gohan, had found him in a space pod when he was a child and adopted him. Of course, Roshi also explained that a baby Goku was a violent, aggressive, mean-spirited, and almost rabid child, but he accidentally fell on his head. The fall would have killed a normal baby Goku's age and size, but because Goku was a Saiyan, all it did was kill his Saiyan bloodlust and malice.
And from that day on, you became a happy, loving boy.
I'm from outer space?
Yes.
As past Goku wrestled with this revelation, what Master Roshi didn't realize was that he was also explaining why Goku was so different to Raditz as well.
Of course,
Such a deep fall must have rewired Kakarot's programming, which explains his sickening, disgusting naivete and soft demeanor. And since the two Kakarots are basically the same people from different timelines, I'm guessing the same thing happened to this future version as well. But wait, this still doesn't add up. If I recruit Kakarot in the future, I don't see this man helping me, Vegeta and Nappa, conquer and subjugate worlds. I don't even see this man hurting a fly. The Vegeta that I know would have killed Kakarot on the spot if I brought this version to him. So then, what? Why are they acting as if they're not only teammates, but equals? Vegeta has never shown me nor Nappa the kind of respect he's shown Kakarot so far.
But as Raditz contemplated these questions, an enraged past Goku glared dead at his older brother, his fists clenching.
You said that you were pillaging and conquering worlds out in space. If you're not from the future, then that means the only reason you'd even be on Earth is to attack my home. No wonder your power feels so evil.
Well, look at the big brain on Kakarot. Actually, you were the one who was sent here to conquer this planet. I came here because I wanted to recruit you on a mission me and your fellow Saiyans need help with. I assume that I recruited you in the future, and that's why the future you and future Vegeta here have formed an alliance. But I can't even imagine me taking you on one of our missions seeing how weak-hearted and pathetic you are.
Hearing Raditz's words, Vegeta burst into a laughing fit.
Raditz, you half-witted dunce! You actually believe you managed to recruit Kakarot?
Vegeta's statement indicated to Raditz that he didn't end up recruiting Goku in the future after all.
I don't understand. If I didn't recruit him in the future, why are you with him? Why are you treating him as an equal? The Vegeta I know, the real Vegeta, wouldn't have stomached being around him.
There's no need to be jealous, Raditz. The Vegeta you know hasn't gone through the growth that I have. And for all intents and purposes, that Vegeta might as well be a pale imitation of me when it comes to power. You ask me why I have allied myself with Kakarot? It's quite simple, really. I hate to admit it. This clown has pushed and motivated me to reach levels of power I once never knew existed. I couldn't have ever dreamed of becoming as strong as I am, and I'd mind my tongue if I were you, Raditz. Believe it or not, the future version of Kakarot is actually comparable to me in terms of power. If you could sense power levels, you'd realize how far above you he really is.
Typically, Vegeta wouldn't even faintly compliment Goku the way that he did. But, admittedly, seeing Raditz again had brought some of the old Vegeta out of hiding, and the sadist in Vegeta couldn't help but get under his subordinate's skin, like he did in the old days. Deep down, Raditz had already known that future Goku was clearly no ordinary Saiyan, and was an anomaly in terms of power. But it was particularly traumatic, hearing his thoughts confirmed by Vegeta himself.
Is he serious? How? How could Kakarot reach a level of power that rivals the Prince? That shouldn't be possible. But if Kakarot really is as strong as he says he is, then do I have the potential to reach that level too? I don't see why not. I'm his older brother after all. Anything Kakarot can do, I can do better.
Meanwhile, present Goku placed his focus back on Bulma, who had a million questions of her own when overhearing Raditz's conversation with past Goku and Vegeta.
So, I don't mean to interrupt, but you think you can help us get back to our timeline, Bulma? You eventually end up building a time machine in the future, so maybe you can fix whatever happened.
What? I invent a time machine? No way. I mean, I've heard that time travel is theoretically possible, but I didn't think I'd ever be able to build one.
Bulma had a hard time getting over the revelation.
Well, I can't make any promises, Goku, but I can at least see what I can do. If this happened because you guys entered another dimension, it's possible that the energy from that dimension affected you both in some way. Maybe it left some kind of residue on you. We'll have to go back to my place to run some tests on your bodies.
Thanks, Bulma. I'll fly you over there.
Why can't you just teleport us over there like you teleported here?
I have to lock onto someone's energy to do that. I'm guessing there's no one at your home, or at least no one who emits enough ki there. So if that's the case, I can't use my instant transmission.
Bulma understood Goku's explanation as best as she could. She wasn't too disappointed, however. This would only give her the opportunity to get closer to Broly.
Well, I guess this means someone's going to have to carry me to my place. I pick you, Broly. You look like you can handle someone like me. In the air, I mean. My name's Bulma, by the way.
An unwitting Broly, who was too innocent and naive to register Bulma's advances, nodded and agreed with her request with a smile.
Nice to meet you, Bulma.
However, Vegeta, who maybe knew his wife a little too well, immediately noticed the subtle signals Bulma was giving Broly like bait.
You've got to be joking. Is she flirting with him?
However, as present Goku was about to further address his past friends, he felt a strange feeling come over him. Vegeta felt it at the same time, too.
Vegeta, what's going on?
I don't know. This feeling, it's as if it's the same feeling we get whenever we're about to fuse.
And as soon as Vegeta said that, both Goku's and Vegeta's bodies unexpectedly glowed again.
Oh, great! What are they doing now? Are we under attack?
There was a burst of light, and then, when the light faded, a warrior who only Broly and Raditz had seen was now standing where Goku and Vegeta were.
This day just keeps getting crazier and crazier. What just happened? It's like those guys combined bodies or something.
Indeed, past Goku was right. Present Goku and Vegeta had inexplicably merged back into Gogeta without doing a fusion dance, something both Saiyans thought they could only do when wearing Patara earrings.
I don't understand. This has never happened before. How is this possible?
What Gogeta didn't realize at the time was that Bulma was right. The dimension Gogeta traveled through not only affected time itself, but also the DNA of both Goku and Vegeta, giving the fused warrior another set of problems to worry about. While everyone was understandably flustered by the sight of Goku and Vegeta fusing bodies, there was an important development occurring that no one on Master Roshi's island knew about.
It's you. You're the one. You're the mortal who's going to give me the challenge I've been yearning for millions of years.
A slumbering god of destruction was having a vision while he was dreaming, a vision that acted as a prophecy. At the time, there were only two Saiyans Beerus could have been referring to, either Gogeta or Broly. But because of their presence in the past, it was clear that Beerus was going to wake up decades before he was supposed to. With the future warriors already piquing his interest, an awakening Beerus was about to turn what was just a perplexing situation into something deadly.
I can't wait to meet you.
Beerus opened his eyes after his 20-million-year catnap and let out a yawn that would have sounded more like a powerful yet monstrous roar to mortal ears. Whis, who was doing chores, keeping the planet neat and organized like he'd been doing for millions of years, was shocked to hear his pupil's battle cry.
My word. Is that really him? I didn't hear his alarm go off. I didn't think he'd be up for at least another 2 decades. I better go check on him before he falls right back to sleep.
But what Whis didn't know was that for the first time, Beerus wasn't tired at all. His heart was pounding, as if he'd woken up from a nightmare. When Whis finally reached Beerus's master bedroom, which was as spacious as an entire country, he was pleasantly surprised to not only see Beerus awake, but wide awake.
Well, this is unexpected. Good morning, my lord. If I had to guess, it looks like you had quite a dream.
Beerus was so excited he was almost speechless, his thoughts racing with possibilities.
Are you not hungry, sir? Usually, after a long nap, the first thing on your mind was food.
Grinning from ear to ear, Beerus had told his attendant,
I am hungry, Whis. Hungry for a battle I don't think I've ever had.
Oh?
Whis. While I was dreaming, I had a vision. A premonition. There's a warrior, maybe 2 warriors, right now in this universe, who are going to challenge me like I haven't been challenged in years. All I want to do right now is fight them.
You just woke up and that's the first thing on your mind?
Beerus could both see and hear the skepticism in Whis' face.
I can tell you don't believe me.
With all due respect, can you blame me, my lord? Your premonitions don't really have a good track record.
Well, sure, but this is different. I'm telling you, Whis, I felt the 2 fighters in my bones. I can still feel their power.
Then, pray tell, who or what are these fighters you dreamed about? What are their names? What do they look like?
The question stumped Beerus. He groaned.
I I couldn't see them fully. Their faces were unclear and blurry. I don't think I got their names either, but I know that they were, what were they called? One was a Super Saiyan God, and the other one was just called, he was just a Super Saiyan, but there was something different about him. He was just a mortal, but somehow possessed the kind of power that would even give a deity like me some trouble.
A Super Saiyan God and a Super Saiyan? Sounds like quite the entertaining dream. But the last time I checked, the remaining Saiyans who are still left don't have anywhere near the kind of power you're describing. And none of them are what you seem to call a Super Saiyan, let alone a god.
Still left?
That was when Beerus remembered that he casually allowed Frieza to destroy planet Vegeta the last time he was awake.
Yes, that's right. I did give that pompous snob permission to wipe out the Saiyans, didn't I? So, then, maybe it was just a meaningless dream.
But still clinging onto the hope that it truly was a premonition, a hopeful Beerus had shouted,
"No, wait. You said there are some still left, correct? Tell me about the other Saiyans who are still alive. Are there any Saiyans who might seem a bit different somehow?"
Well, last time I checked, there are only 4 Saiyans left at the moment. And yes, there is one Saiyan who's different from the bunch. He goes by the names Kakarot and Goku, who seems to possess a much gentler spirit and a kinder nature than his Saiyan brethren. However, this Goku person is also the weakest of the 4. I suspect you'd be able to kill him with a sneeze.
That's disappointing. Who's the strongest out of the group?
That would be King Vegeta's son and the perpetual heir to his throne, Prince Vegeta, whose power level so far seems to have peaked at 18,000. Was that the Super Saiyan God you were hoping to play with, my lord?
Is it possible that you miscounted? Or that you missed any other Saiyans that might have survived after all these years?
Why, certainly. I'm not omniscient, and I don't stand around keeping track of the Saiyans all day. But that is to say, I've only kept track of the ones who I felt were mildly intriguing in some way. I doubt there are others who you'd find interesting.
Still, a skeptical Beerus refused to give up hope.
Whis, how about you take a look at the Saiyan who was on Earth one more time?
As you wish. I'll always take any opportunity to say that I told you so, my lord.
Beerus stood on his feet, and he and Whis focused on the angel's staff as the crystal ball attached to it started to form a clear picture inside of it like a television screen. The first thing the eye of that staff showed them was Gogeta's face only seconds after future Goku and Vegeta combined back into the fused warrior. A flustered Whis looked even closer at his staff's ball, wondering if his staff was accidentally showing something happening on a different planet.
This doesn't seem right.
Beerus, however, immediately recognized the face.
Whis, that's him. That's him. I know it is. That's one of the warriors I dreamed about it. I'm sure of it. See? I told you that you missed one. And if that warrior's there, the other one must be close by. I can tell just by looking at that man he's brimming with God Ki underneath. Even his clothes look of divine design. Where did this man come from?
I don't know. If someone like this was around, surely I would have noticed him before today. Let's rewind to see when and how this person came to be.
With his angelic powers, Whis manipulated his staff to rewind it to the past like a video player, mentally guiding the godly instrument to show him the exact point that Gogeta came to be. Doing so had allowed Whis and Beerus to discover Broly and Gogeta's true origins. And when they did, it broke both of them. Meanwhile, back on Master Roshi's island, everyone was still trying to recover after seeing future Goku and Vegeta become whole once again. They all fell silent. Even Goku turned as still as a statue at the phenomenon he just witnessed.
You guys saw that, right?
I was just about to ask you the same question.
Gohan clung tighter onto his father, but enough of Gogeta's shock had worn off to the point where he realized he needed to calm everyone else on the island down before he caused a mass panic attack, assuming it wasn't too late already.
Look, you guys have nothing to worry about. What you just saw was called fusion. It's a technique Goku will eventually learn about in the future. This ability allows you to combine bodies with another fighter. Doing so usually produces someone that not only combines the powers of the two fighters, but multiplies it several-fold. So, basically, Goku and Vegeta, the person you just saw him fuse with, created me. Gogeta. I'm both of them. and somehow my own person at the same time.
Confusing was too small of a word to explain what Bulma and her group felt at the moment. Of course, Goku was the only one strong enough to fight off his shock to say something.
Isn't that kind of like how Piccolo and Kami were once the same guy, then split into two people? So you're saying you just had the reverse of that? You're basically claiming that I can do the same thing. That's crazy! To be honest, I don't really see myself combining powers with someone else to fight. That doesn't sound like my kind of style.
Yeah, well, just you wait. Give it time, and you'll face a whole bunch of people who'll push you to do things you never thought you'd do.
After he made that comment, Gogeta's gaze couldn't help but to waver over to Broly, who had a subtle expression of guilt on his face when he made eye contact back with the fused warrior. At the same time, a guarded Bulma had begun to regain some of her composure, at least enough of it to remember how to speak.
Okay, let's say that I believe you, and let me tell you, buddy, you're really stretching my suspension of disbelief today. Why the hell would you guys fuse now? And why do that without even telling us?
That's the thing. Goku and Vegeta didn't mean to fuse. Usually, they have to do a complicated ritual to combine. The fusion also only lasts for 30 minutes, sometimes less depending on how powerful the fighters are. That's why I'm just as shocked as you guys are about this. Believe me when I say that this has never happened before.
Surprisingly, what shocked Gogeta just as much as fusing again was Raditz seemingly vouching for him by saying,
The man is telling the truth. This is how I originally found him when I came to this planet. After the two of us talked for a little while, he split back into Vegeta and Kakarot.
Unbelievable. Then it has to be true. Holy cow. Future me is amazing.
However, Bulma, who was only slightly convinced that this wasn't a trick of some sort, had an entirely different internal response to seeing Goku and Vegeta fuse.
You said this has never happened to you before, right? Then it could be a side effect of you guys traveling through that dimension. In fact, I'm almost certain it is. Even if time travel is possible, there's a reason why you'd need a hypothetical time machine to traverse time and space. Not only to guide you, but to protect your body from the radiation that exists between timelines. Now, we definitely have to go back to my place to run some tests on you. Who knows? Maybe this fusion of yours could be temporary, and it might wear off soon.
I hope so.
But at the same time, a part of Gogeta wondered if he even wanted to defuse again. He'd barely been alive for longer than 30 minutes. Here, he had the opportunity to live life on his own terms, without being at the mercy of a time limit and two fighters who were weaker than he was.
All right, Broly, you carry me. I'll give you the directions.
Okay, Bulma.
Once again, Bulma swooned when hearing Broly's voice.
He is going to be so mine by the end of the day.
Bulma, you mind if we just head on out of here before we get any more unexpected surprises? I'd like to find out what's going on as soon as possible so I can return home. Everyone back in my timeline is probably worried about me.
But wouldn't the future have changed by now? Even if we could send you back, which sounds impossible all on its own, we'd probably be sending you back to the future of this world instead.
Nah. I know for a fact that when someone travels to the past, they end up going to a sort of parallel universe, essentially creating another timeline or branch. Unless time travel works differently in that dimension me and Broly were in, I think the same rules apply here.
I've read in books that's another way time travel could work, but how would he know that? He talks as if he's time traveled before. Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. Broly, let's go.
Bulma swooned even more as Broly swept her off her feet and held her the same way a groom held their bride at a wedding. The Vegeta and Gogeta felt a slight tug of discomfort seeing Bulma so cozy with Broly. He had to remind himself that the woman wasn't necessarily his Bulma. And technically, his Bulma wasn't really his Bulma either. He had another wife in Chi-Chi as well, and he couldn't tell which one fit him best. However, Gogeta didn't take off just yet, since Raditz was still among his crew. Gogeta could still sense a bit of malice in his older brother's energy. Feeling like Raditz still posed a threat to his friends, Gogeta had said,
Raditz, why don't you come with us to Bulma's?
It sounds like he's giving me an order. Well, it's not like I have a choice but to follow him. I'm completely vulnerable against him. But before I go anywhere else with this Gogeta person, there's something I need to know. Of course, But before we fly anywhere, let me ask you something. What happens to me in the future? Why wasn't I with Vegeta and Kakarot when they came here?
Why did he have to ask that? I should lie to him. But I guess, in a way, he deserves to know the truth. And maybe this will change Raditz for the better. In my future, you came to Earth to recruit Goku, just like you did in this timeline. Of course, Goku didn't want to come with you. As you might guess by now, this led to a fight between you and Goku, who'd teamed up with another fighter called Piccolo to put you down. They both managed to kill you in the battle. You haven't been seen or heard from since. Well, until now.
Out of all the battles Raditz had been through, Gogeta's revelation perhaps did the most damage to him. So much so that Raditz immediately regretted asking the question. His little brother, Past Goku, was shocked by the revelation as well, but in a different way.
No way! Me and Piccolo actually worked together to beat this guy? I guess that makes sense. I can tell Raditz isn't anywhere near as strong as you and Broly, but he still feels like he's leagues above me. No way I'd be able to take him out without some help. I can't believe Piccolo actually swallowed his pride enough to work with me.
At the time, he only helped you because he wanted Raditz out of the way so he could rule the world. But he eventually changed his mind on that.
An absolutely dumbfounded Krillin had enough sense to ask,
Why and how would Piccolo of all people change his mind?
Gogeta had told Krillin, Goku, and everyone else on Master Roshi's island the unbelievable tale of Piccolo kidnapping and training Gohan in preparation for Vegeta and Nappa, two of Raditz's comrades who came to Earth in search for the Dragon Balls. However, at this point, a shaken and grieving Raditz had tuned Gogeta out and could only hear his own thoughts.
But how? Is that what was supposed to happen to me when I came here? Was that who I'm supposed to be? How could I lose to my little brother and some other anonymous fighter I've never heard about? Is this other fighter the green man I ran into earlier? It has to be. He was the only person on Earth with a power level comparable to Kakarot before Gogeta and Broly showed up. So then, what? I died and that was it? That was the end of my story. While Vegeta teams up with Kakarot for some unknown reason and elevates my little brother to his level, to a level beyond anything I've ever seen, I don't believe this. I'm nothing. I'm completely forgotten about.
As Raditz went through an existential crisis, Past Goku and his friends felt like their brains had fried after Gogeta had told them about Nappa and Vegeta's arrival. When telling them his life story, Gogeta had only gotten to the part where Goku and Vegeta were about to start fighting before he stopped himself.
Okay, I should probably stop talking for now. I'm on a mission. I'll never get back home if I tell these people everything that's going to happen in the future. Guys, I don't mean to cut this thing short, but I really should get going. I need to return to my timeline ASAP.
As badly as the others wanted to know what else fate had in store for them, Past Goku and his team nodded in acceptance, completely understanding Gogeta's priorities. Then Gogeta had turned to Raditz, who was still stuck in his own thoughts.
Raditz!
A startled Raditz looked up at the man who now looked like a mix of both his brother and Vegeta, their faces already haunting him.
Snap out of it. Let's go,
the Vegeta in the man had said.
Of course. I was waiting for you.
But deep down, after discovering he'd die in the future, Raditz was already trying to figure out a way to rewrite his own destiny.
Whatever happens in the future, it's not written in stone. I can change things. And maybe the key to changing things is learning from this strange man in front of me. It makes me want to throw up all over this fragile little planet, but this Gogeta person could be the key to becoming more than what I am now. After all, it's better to follow him than to spend the rest of my life under Vegeta's and Frieza's heels. I can't believe I'm thinking this, but these two going back in time might have actually been the best thing that ever happened to me, all things considered.
It was a revelation and existential crisis that caused a slight shift in Raditz that he didn't notice. But Gogeta did. He could already sense the seeds of change he planted in Raditz blooming, and he couldn't have been prouder of his older brother.
I'm going with you guys too. It's not every day you get to take advice from your future self. I don't want you to leave until I learn everything there is to know about you.
I knew you'd say that. No problem.
Master Roshi? Krillin? You guys mind looking after Gohan here for a little while? I'd take him, but the little guy is already scared out of his mind, and I really don't want him to be around my so-called brother. I still don't trust him all that much.
Although, after hearing the things Gogeta had told them about Gohan, Goku was looking at his son in a new light.
Wow. My arch-nemesis ended up turning my son into a fighter? It sounds like Gohan's gonna be incredible.
However, Gogeta had a different thought when looking at Gohan.
I've already changed so much about this timeline by coming here. Piccolo hasn't shown up, so I doubt Gohan's gonna end up training under him after all. So what's gonna happen to my son here then? He was the right balance of an academic and fighter back at home. But now, I'm wondering if he's gonna be the way that he is, forever, never realizing what he's fully capable of. I feel that would be a tragedy.
Briefly, Gogeta silenced his mind enough to try and detect if there were any other power levels in the area. It didn't take long for him to sense Piccolo. He was floating far above the clouds, in a section of the sky that the past Z fighters were too distracted to notice. Thanks to Piccolo's sharp hearing, he listened in on everything the Z fighters had said. What Gogeta didn't realize, however, was revealing what happened to Piccolo in the future only made the Demon King swear to maintain his evil ways.
It sounds like the future me is such a joke. He actually put aside his ambitions to work with these morons, to raise that goof Goku's son. Hell no. That's not happening to me. Hopefully these guys from the future won't stick around for too long. It'll be hard to conquer the planet with them around. But after they leave, I'll have to find a new way to accomplish my goals. I'm gonna have to kill Goku immediately before he infects me with his weakness.
With that, Gogeta felt Piccolo fly off, and the fused warrior was slightly concerned, since he felt the evil in Piccolo only getting stronger after what he'd just said. But unfortunately, this wasn't an issue Gogeta had time to dwell on given the circumstances.
Lead the way, Gogeta!
With that, Gogeta and his crew's auras flared as they blasted off into the sky like rockets shooting off into space. Broly, somewhat aware of his own strength, tried his best to hold back his power to gently carry Bulma, who had hearts in her eyes, while gazing at Broly. To her, they might as well have been cuddling on a floating bed.
He looks even more dreamy up close. I'm impressed. You really know how to handle a lady, Broly. You must have experience.
I don't, not really. For a long time, the only person I've ever really been around was my father.
A pang of sadness tugged at Broly's heart when he said this, as Broly was briefly reminded that his father was gone. For a moment, he felt himself about to lose control. Gogeta noticed the slight shift in Broly's mood.
Oh no. Not again. Just hold it in, big guy. I really don't want to have to hurt you.
Luckily, Gogeta wouldn't have to. Bulma immediately noticed the subtle agony in Broly's face, and instinctively reached her hand out to touch the side of his face. It had been the first time someone had ever touched Broly in such a manner. Deep down, the legendary Super Saiyan had wondered how a touch so gentle could overpower him the way that it did. He'd never felt so weak.
You were close to your father, huh? You sound like you might have been a sheltered kid growing up. I can tell just by the way you talk and look. Where did you come from? Wait a minute. If you're from the future too, there has to be another you running around here, right? Where is he right now?
Because of the question, it also just occurred to Broly that his past self is out there in the universe as well, still with his father Paragus. His father was still alive.
I'm not from here. I was born on planet Vegeta, but me and my father were banished to a planet called Vampa. He raised me there.
Banished? Planet Vegeta? Isn't that the planet Gogeta said Raditz and Goku came from? So, does that mean you're one of these world-conquering Saiyans too?
I guess, yeah. But I don't want to conquer anything. The only thing I think I've ever wanted was to see Ba again.
What or who is Ba?
As Broly told Bulma the heartbreaking story of how his father separated him from his best friend Ba on Vampa, Raditz, who hadn't paid all that much attention to Broly until then, could barely hold in his own disbelief when listening to Broly's tale.
This is unreal. I've been so focused on Vegeta and the two Kakarots that I didn't stop to think about who this man with Gogeta was. I thought he might have looked like a Saiyan, but like Kakarot, I thought he was too soft and meek to actually be one of us. But since he was exiled to a faraway planet, I guess that would make sense. He probably left planet Vegeta before his sane programming was completed or had even started. But that begs other questions. Why would King Vegeta banish Broly? And how could he be so powerful that he'd be able to break through dimensions as well? Where in the world did my brother and Vegeta find a sane like him?
I know Bulma too well. She'll get bored of him in a month.
When Gogeta and the others finally arrived at Bulma's Capsule Corp home, she immediately brought Gogeta and Broly to their lab and ran a few lab tests on the two Saiyans' bodies, looking at their DNAs closely with a microscope.
Okay, so I see it in Broly. Slight traces of radiation is still in his bloodstream. It's unlike any substance on Earth, and its energy levels are off the charts. It's volatile and unstable. This doesn't exactly prove they traveled through time, but it makes a strong case for it. Now to check Gogeta.
Bulma had analyzed the results a little more thoroughly before she gave Broly and Gogeta the startling news in Capsule Corp's lobby.
Okay, the good news is that I think I figured out what's wrong with you, Gogeta. I'm gonna try to put this as simple as possible. When you were in whatever dimension you were in, just as I theorized, it affected you on a molecular level. I'm not sure how this happened, but in simple terms, it's as if the dimension confused and short-circuited your DNA. Right now, your cells, atoms, molecules, they're not sure if they're two separate people or just one person. I'm guessing that's kind of why you were able to unfuse temporarily. Your cells were trying to figure out if that felt right to them. After a certain amount of time, those same cells felt it was a mistake to have you both separated and tried to course correct by putting you back together, as if you guys being separated is a disease they're trying to fend off.
Gogeta was somewhat able to keep up with what Bulma was telling him. But at the end of her science lesson, only one question came to mind.
So, am I stuck like this?
It's hard to say. When I looked at your cells, they're still somewhat volatile. One minute it looks like they're trying to pull themselves apart, the next minute they're trying to stay together. It's like the two cells in you have a love-hate relationship with each other. Unfortunately, with so little to go on, there's not much we can do now but wait for you guys to defuse again, assuming that happens.
As conflicted as Gogeta might have been about the news, little did he know, being permanently fused for an unknown amount of time was a blessing in disguise. He'd need all the power being Gogeta gave him to defend himself, and the Earth, against a cranky god of destruction who was making his way towards the planet at an alarming speed.
Come on, Whis. Are you going fast enough? You said it'd only take 20 minutes to get there.
It will. It's only been 5 minutes, my lord.
Previously, Beerus had only wanted to fight the two men who he saw in his dreams. But after learning about their transgressions through time, Beerus, who hadn't yet been softened by Goku's influence like his future counterpart was, felt the two time travelers from the future were committing a crime under his watch and waking him up early in the process by doing so, which annoyed him even more.
I need to get rid of you quickly, before the Grand Priest finds out.
After Bulma explained how Gogeta's time traveling affected his fusion technique, Past Goku had asked the question that everyone, even Gogeta himself, was too afraid to ask.
Whoa! You mean to tell me there's a chance future me is going to be stuck with that other guy for good? You can't whip up some kind of gizmo or something to break them up?
Eventually. But the thing is, these guys need to go back to their timeline eventually too. Or at least that's what they claim. And I can only focus on one thing at a time. It's either build a time machine or build something that can maybe defuse Goku and Vegeta.
But do you know for sure you'll be able to send us back to the future?
Unfortunately, no. The radiation in your bodies gives me a starting point to work with, but there's no guarantee I'll have the kind of scientific breakthrough I need to solve this problem. And it's a scientific breakthrough I don't see myself having for a long time.
How long are we talking?
Bulma sighed. It was a question she honestly hoped Gogeta wouldn't ask.
Years, Gogeta. You'd have to wait years until I maybe figured out how to build one. And there still wouldn't be a guarantee.
Gogeta felt his stomach drop like he swallowed an anchor.
Years? So I'm stuck here for years? And even after all of that, I still won't know if I'll be able to go back to my friends? My family? This is definitely not what I wanted to hear. But I guess it's out of my hands. I'm just gonna have to make the best of it, and have faith Bulma will be able to fix this. Hell, I don't have a choice. If the smartest person in the universe can't send me back home, then nothing will.
Later that day, Gogeta stood out in the middle of Capsule Corp's lavish and gargantuan balcony. Whereas the Goku in him didn't feel like this was too big of a deal, always optimistic things would turn out for the best, the Vegeta in him couldn't help but brood a little. Especially knowing that Frieza was still running around in his timeline, because Whis brought him back to life after the Tournament of Power.
It's ironic. I guess in a way, Frieza did end up getting rid of me after all. Now the Earth might be at his mercy, and I don't know if Gohan or anyone else is strong enough to stop him. I'd like to believe Beerus would help, though. He loves the food on Earth too much to let Frieza destroy it.
Hey, that was some heavy stuff back there. You feeling all right?
Yeah. I just have a lot on my mind, as you can imagine.
Well, if you need a place to crash for a couple of years, my door's always open. Actually, it's also kind of your door too, right? I'm sure you know that we have some extra space in that house. I'll just have to convince Chi-Chi to let you stay.
I appreciate the help, but we both know that Chi-Chi's probably not gonna let that happen. So, I'll probably just be on my own for a while. Maybe I'll get a room over at Master Roshi's, or just live out in the woods somewhere. It's not as if we're not used to living like that.
You're telling me. I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love Chi-Chi, I do miss being on my own from time to time. I'm honestly kind of jealous you get to do that. Well, I'm also jealous of the fact that you end up being so strong.
Past Goku gave Gogeta the smile that Gogeta sorely needed. Of course, the only person who'd be able to cheer him up was a part of himself.
Well, since you're gonna be living here for a long time now, how about training me? I'm sure I'll make it worth your time.
I knew you were going to ask me that eventually.
Just like I know that you're going to accept me as your student.
Gogeta had given his past counterpart a look that had told Goku yes before he'd even said a word.
This is gonna be awesome! I can't wait to get to your level!
Then, with an arrogant grin, the Vegeta in him had told Goku,
My level? I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point, bringing you to my level would be like training an ant to become a lion. We'll have to take things slow. Getting to my level took decades of hard work, suffering, and a kind of pain you haven't even experienced yet. The kind of pain that'd probably kill this version of you. I won't be going easy on you.
Hearing you say all of that just gets me more and more fired up. I'm ready to go. How about we start today, right now?
You're not starting without me!
Both Goku and Gogeta were somewhat surprised to see their older brother Raditz walking towards them. Raditz, who'd been eavesdropping on Gogeta's and Goku's conversation, wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to unlock his own possible hidden potential, even if that meant being trained with his disgrace of a younger brother.
If you take him on as a student, you need to take me on as one as well.
Well, this is unlike you. The Raditz I remember wasn't a fan of training at all, let alone training under a teacher.
I don't want to be the Raditz that you remember anymore. I don't want to end up as just a memory like supposedly my future self did. I didn't train that much before because I was told by people stronger than me that I'd never be able to reach a power level above the thousands. I was content with that. It was a power that 99% of the people in the universe couldn't even dream of having. Why would I want for more? But after seeing what my younger brother will be capable of in the future, I feel in my bones there are levels of power I can reach that I can't wait to tap into. I realize now that there's not a set hierarchy, that I don't have to be weaker than Vegeta and Nappa anymore, that maybe, with the right teacher, I might even be able to surpass both of them. That's what Kakarot has shown me today. He's shown me the power that I want. If you accept me as your student, I promise I won't let you down.
Gogeta paused for a moment, moved by Raditz's words. It was as if today's events had woken up a sleeping beast within the man. The same sleeping beast that allowed the two men Gogeta was made up of to turn into Super Saiyans.
All right, Raditz. But like I told Past Me, the training I put you through won't be.
But before Gogeta could finish his sentence, his face and soul turned pale. He felt a familiar presence closing in on Earth. The only problem was that the key he was sensing wasn't any old normal key. It was godly.
No way. Impossible. Is that Beerus and Whis? It can't be. How would they even get here?
Of course, Raditz. who couldn't sense power levels, and Past Goku, who couldn't yet sense God Ki, had no idea what had Gogeta so unnerved.
What? What is it? What's going on?
Oh man, maybe he's thinking right now that training you isn't a good idea after all.
Shut up, Kakarot.
Meanwhile, Bulma was sitting with Broly in the front lawn patio of her Capsule Corp home. She watched as Broly devoured an entire buffet of food she had her assistants fetch for the sane brute. After he was done, Broly let out a burp that shook the world.
Wow, I thought only Goku had that kind of appetite, but yours might be even bigger than his, which is hard to believe.
Sorry. On my homeworld, we've never eaten anything like this. Me and my father never knew food that tasted this good existed. How did you produce this?
I didn't. I ordered it from the buffet that's a few blocks away from here.
You can just order food.
You're so clueless, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Your dad did raise you in the middle of nowhere, apparently. I forgot to ask you, how'd you get off of this vamp place anyway?
We were saved by a man named Frieza. I think he was a king or something. His soldiers found us while on a trip to space, and Frieza wanted to recruit me and my father so we can work for him. My dad agreed.
That's it? That's the only reason? He saved you to use you as a tool?
I'm used to it. My dad, he loved me, but he sort of saw me the same way.
You shouldn't be used to that.
Then Bulma touched Broly's hand with that same powerful gentleness she used to touch his cheek earlier. For the first time in his life, Broly blushed.
Look, I know you and Gogeta want to go back to your time and everything, but I think it's a good thing that you're here. A part of me feels like it was meant to be. You need someone to teach you what life's all about. I'd make a great tour guide. Maybe you should stay here, with me, for good.
Broly felt a strange sensation in his chest that he'd never had before. He didn't know what to do with it. All it did was compel him to touch Bulma's hand, the same way Bulma touched his. But then a seemingly endless beam of colorful lights had touched down on the ground, only a couple of feet away from Bulma and Broly. The blast would have pushed Bulma back if Broly, thinking quick on his feet, hadn't caught Bulma in his arms at the last minute. Then, the colorful beam faded, and, after adjusting herself, Bulma saw two peculiar-looking creatures she had never seen before standing in front of her house. A purple cat man with a stoic face and a blue-skinned gentleman dressed like royalty stood where the portal used to be. After coughing from the dust and debris the portal kicked into her lungs, Bulma held her head to make sure it was still on her shoulders and tried to make sense of the two visitors in front of her.
You've got to be kidding me. Can weird stuff please stop happening today? I can only take so much. Hey, who and what the hell are you two? Please tell me you guys have nothing to do with time travel or other dimensions or fusions or any of the other crazy stuff I've heard today.
But Beerus didn't hear a word that Bulma said. At that moment, all he could focus on was Broly.
It's him, the other one. It has to be. I vaguely remember seeing him in my premonition, even though I can tell he doesn't have God Ki. I can tell from his presence alone that he certainly would be formidable. It's unfortunate he pissed me off, and I have to cut his life so short. I better try to enjoy as much of this battle as I can.
But just as Whis was about to say something, Gogeta jumped from Capsule Corp's balcony, down to the ground in front of Bulma and Broly. Raditz and Goku followed Gogeta's lead, the two brothers having no idea what to make of their two visitors.
What in the world? Hey, who are you guys?
Well, this is my friend, Lord Beerus. He's a god of destruction.
A what?
But whereas Gogeta saw a friend, all Beerus saw was a time-traveling criminal who needed to be executed immediately before he caused any further damage to the timeline and Beerus's beauty sleep. Neither Past Goku, Raditz, or Bulma knew what a god of destruction was. Technically, the only god they knew of was Kami, who was watching these bizarre events unfold curiously and quietly from the lookout. But the name God of Destruction, for some reason, sent a chill down everyone's spines at the same exact time.
A god of destruction? What's that supposed to be? Does that mean he's supposed to be really strong? Because I don't sense anything from this guy.
That's because he's emitting God Ki. That's not something you're capable of sensing right now.
I'm sorry, did you say God Ki?
As Goku and Raditz struggled to process what was in front of them, Gogeta's words had intrigued an already curious Beerus, so much that he had momentarily forgotten how angry he was.
So this mortal knows me. I assume he must have ran into me in whatever future he came from. And I also assume he must have fought the Beerus of that timeline, because I can't see myself sensing a mortal like this and not having the itch to play with him in the future. But if that's the case, and he did fight future me, why is this man still alive? And why would he refer to me as his friend? I don't see any version of me being friends with a damn moral.
It was a thought that convinced Beerus, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he needed to put the two time travelers down for good, as if he was avenging his future self.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't think I've ever been happier seeing you two.
The words shocked Beerus so much they practically startled him. The god of destruction had never heard anything like that in his life. Normally, Beerus's appearance was usually treated as an unwanted omen, because if he was on your planet, there was a 50-50 chance it would be destroyed depending on his mood.
Did I hear that right? What did you just say to me?
Look, I know you must be annoyed, but this wasn't my fault. We didn't intentionally go back in time like Trunks did. Me and the big guy just went at it, and then we found ourselves here. This was a complete accident. Whis could tell you. He was there to see the battle.
Every word out of Gogeta's mouth was just making both Beerus and Whis feel crazier and crazier.
What is he talking about? Whis was with him? He acts as if, wherever he came from, he was actually friends with my attendant too. Would the future me and Whis really befriend these Saiyans? And that's why he looks at us as if we're drinking buddies? This is definitely not what I expected.
So, how'd you guys get here? Didn't you say that gods were forbidden from going through time?
Sorry. There seems to be a little bit of a mix-up here. We're not the Beerus and Whis that you knew.
And at that moment, Gogeta realized he'd made a grave miscalculation. It was something he was upset with himself for not considering sooner.
No, impossible. If that's the case, then that must mean you're the Beerus and Whis from this timeline.
Bingo, you are correct.
The news was as shocking as it was disappointing for Gogeta. He felt like a man stranded on an island watching a boat just pass him by in the night.
I don't understand. You're supposed to be asleep. The Beerus in my timeline didn't wake up until the age 778.
Well, that definitely sounds like a halfway decent nap. And maybe I would have woken up around that time if it wasn't for you two Saiyans time traveling. Whis showed me everything. He showed me you two arriving here from that other dimension. Showed me you two defusing and fusing back again. I know you're really two people in one body. And what I also know is that you're not supposed to be here. As you just said, my future self told you, time travel is strictly forbidden.
We know. And like we just said, it was an accident. We didn't mean to come here.
That doesn't matter. In the court of law, if you accidentally kill someone, you're still going to jail. Unless you're a destroyer, of course. You're not getting off scot-free just because you accidentally broke the rules. You and your sane friend there should have controlled your powers better when you were, what did you say, sparring? Now you're both going to suffer the consequences.
Gogeta could hear the threat loud and clear in Beerus's words, but he still had to ask.
What are you talking about? What consequences?
You asked me why I woke up early. To answer your question, I woke up because I had a vision that I was either going to fight you, him, or both. My premonition told me that you two mortals were going to give me the type of challenge that I hadn't experienced in millions of years. I was excited to face you. A part of me still is, to tell you the truth. But then I discovered you two did something even deities aren't allowed to do, and woke me up from my beautiful sleep to do it, which is an even bigger crime. I cannot let either slide. So, after I'm done toying with you, I'm going to destroy you and this whole damn planet.
This is ridiculous. Why do I get the feeling that ruining his sleep is the main reason why he wants to destroy the Earth? Then again, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He's the same guy who also wanted to destroy the Earth, just because Boo wouldn't let him eat his pudding.
Gogeta's mind was already preparing himself for combat. On the one hand, admittedly, he was infuriated that Beerus planned on destroying the Earth. But on the other hand, he was excited to see if he'd be able to match Beerus in this form. And if he couldn't, maybe he could at least weaken Beerus enough to where Broly would have been able to handle him if need be as Gogeta's backup. Of course, Gogeta also felt there was a possibility he could convince Beerus to spare the Earth as well.
I was able to change his mind in the future. Maybe I can change his mind in this timeline too. But honestly, I think it'd be more satisfying if I just kicked his ass.
It's unfortunate, it really is. Killing you would be such a waste of talent. It's a shame we couldn't have met under different circumstances. Perhaps you would have become the arch rival I've been yearning for. But suffice to say, I can already tell this is a battle I'm going to remember for ages. Let's get started.
I'm ready when you are. I've probably been waiting for this longer than you have. I just wish I didn't have to go back in time to finally fight you with this strength.
But before Gogeta could adopt his fighting stance and guard, he realized that the word wish just fell out of his mouth. And suddenly, the divine warrior felt he might have inadvertently stumbled onto a solution to his problems.
Of course. With Whis and Beerus here, maybe there's a chance I can go back in time without even needing a time machine.
Beerus, however, was slightly perturbed by Gogeta's newfound expression.
What? What the hell are you gaping at?
Look, you say I'm not supposed to be in this timeline, right? Well, I know of a way I can finally get out of your hair so you can get your little beauty sleep. I can use the Dragon Balls.
Beerus had no idea what Gogeta just said. They sounded like a pair of words that had no business being together.
Dragon? Balls? What is that? A dish?
Not at all. They're actually my ticket out of here. You see, there are these 7 magical orbs called Dragon Balls that, when gathered together, have the ability to grant the user any wish they want.
Beerus, who'd already seen it all during his millions of years alive, was actually disappointed by the revelation. He would have been more impressed if the Dragon Balls were a special type of food. However, although Beerus had never heard the words Dragon Balls before, Bulma and Past Goku were, of course, very familiar with the name. For Raditz, however, the existence of these Dragon Balls were more unbelievable than the apparent existence of Gogeta and Broly.
What the hell? Orbs that can grant any wish? I feel like I might have heard about these artifacts before, but I probably forgot about it because of how ridiculous that sounds. But I suppose it's not any more ridiculous than my little brother and Vegeta traveling back in time and facing off against... what did he call that cat man? A god of destruction?
Hey, I don't mean to butt in on whatever's going on here, but I'm not sure the Dragon Balls would be able to send you through time. Doing that sounds like it'd be beyond their power, don't you think?
Of course. I'm not an idiot. I know it'd be beyond Shenron's power. But I'm not talking about the Dragon Balls on Earth. I'm talking about the Super Dragon Balls.
What in the world are you talking about?
You see, Bulma, unlike the Dragon Balls here, which are only scattered about the Earth, the Super Dragon Balls are scattered about 2 universes. They're gargantuan. They're literally the size of planets. And, from what I've heard, there are absolutely no limits to the wishes the Super Dragon Balls can grant. You want to know how I know this, Beerus? Your brother, Champa, told me while you and Whis were training Goku and Vegeta on your planet in the future.
Beerus wasn't sure he'd ever be able to sleep again after hearing Gogeta's shocking sentence. He was perhaps even more floored than Bulma and Past Goku were.
Is he serious? Dragon Balls the size of planets that can do anything. I swear, I wouldn't even believe it if it wasn't for everything else that's happened today. And what did Gogeta mean when he said 2 universes? He talks as if there's more than one.
Meanwhile, Beerus took a minute to collect his thoughts and compose himself.
You actually met my brother? And my future self trained you? Why would he do that?
It's a long story. And honestly, technically, Whis is the one who's been training us. You kind of just tolerate us.
I can actually see that happening.
Whis would never admit this to Beerus out loud, but he was growing more and more intrigued by Gogeta the more he learned about him.
Enough of this. Maybe you caught the future version of me in a good mood, but you two aren't winning me over. Especially after dragging me out of my damn bed because of your reckless time travel shenanigans. I am not going between universes and spending even more energy looking for a bunch of mythical orbs to clean up your mess. It'll be simpler and easier to kill you and destroy this planet, so I can get back to bed.
Well, that's only if you can kill me. But how about this? How about we make a little bet, Beerus? I know you're cranky, but the Beerus I know was always up for a game. Why not make our fight a little more entertaining? Think of it this way. When else are you going to get another opportunity like this to have some fun and really test what you're made of?
A reluctant Beerus, who'd admittedly been bored of not having a proper challenge for millions of years, begrudgingly decided to entertain Gogeta's offer.
I'm listening.
How about other than my life and this planet? We also put the Super Dragon Balls on the line. If you win, nothing changes, of course. You'd get to do whatever you pleased with us. But if I win, I won't kill you. Instead, using his powers, Whis would take us to find the Super Dragon Balls across the multiverse, and we'd wish ourselves back to the future. Either way is a win-win situation for you, isn't it? You'd be getting rid of me and Broly in both cases.
Beerus let out a mean-spirited chuckle, genuinely amused by the prospect of a mere mortal beating him.
Absurd proposal. But you know what? You have a deal. If by some miracle you're able to defeat me, having my assistant help you track down the Super Dragon Balls would be the least I could do, in exchange for you hypothetically sparing my life. Now, for your smug arrogance, I'm going to make you suffer twice as much until your last breath.
We'll see about that.
Whis, is he telling the truth about these Super Dragon Balls?
Why, surprisingly, yes, he is. Everything he's said about them is correct. The Super Dragon Balls are scattered between Universe 6 and Universe 7. Although, I'm not sure how he would go about acquiring them. Yes, they are indeed the size of planets, but in the vastness of the space in both universes, it would still be quite a task to track them all down.
Actually, Whis, my wife Bulma built a device called a Dragon Radar that's capable of locating the Dragon Balls here on Earth. In the future, she ended up creating another Dragon Radar for the Super Dragon Balls as well. I have no doubt she'd be able to do the same thing here.
And I'm guessing you are Bulma, correct?
Whis asked, staring directly at Bulma, who had fallen so still and rigid that she couldn't even move a finger. During Gogeta's explanation, he had no idea that he had slipped to the audience around him, that Bulma was his wife in the future.
Wife? Was that a mistake? Did Gogeta just refer to me as his wife? That can't be. Obviously, I didn't marry Gogeta, since according to him, the fusion is usually only temporary. So, do I marry Goku in the future? I don't see that happening either. Unless they got a divorce, he'd still be married to Chi-Chi. Then that just leaves the other guy that was tagging along with future Goku. I mean, I did find him kind of cute, but why would I marry him? I don't even know who that guy is. I feel like I'd be more likely to marry...
Bulma's gaze wavered over to Broly, who was still staring at Gogeta and Beerus. Broly found himself more and more lost as he kept trying to listen and understand Beerus's and Gogeta's conversation. But as Broly braced himself for combat, Beerus had now fully decided to agree to Gogeta's little game.
Fine, you have a deal. If you manage to beat me, I will have my assistant, Whis, take you to find these Super Dragon Balls across the multiverse. Unfortunately for you, the chances of that happening are practically impossible.
Don't count me out yet. You can say that me and Broly being here, in this timeline, should be impossible too. Clearly, I know how to make the impossible happen. But before we get started, how about you take us to a place where we can go all out? The Earth won't be able to handle what we're capable of, and I'd rather you not destroy it before the fight's over.
Agreed. Whis, take us to the precipice.
The precipice?
That's a fine choice, my lord. You must have high hopes for this fight if we're going all the way over there.
I hate to admit it, but I do. Are you ready to go?
Actually, not yet. I'd like to take the big guy Broly with me too.
Bringing him along for backup, I take it. Fine, he can come along too. You'll need all the help you can get.
Actually, Gogeta had two reasons for bringing Broly along. Not only as backup against Beerus, but given Broly's explosive temper and uncontrollable power, Gogeta still felt he had to keep an eye on the man to make sure he didn't pose a danger to his friends. In a sense, the Vegeta in him still wondered if Broly might have been a bigger threat to the Earth than Beerus himself if left unchecked. After making these arrangements, Gogeta had decided to say farewell to his past friends.
Whether or not things go my way, this may be the last time I end up seeing you guys. There's still so much I want to tell you about the future.
Hey, I don't want to say goodbye yet. If Broly's coming with you, I'm coming too.
I appreciate you wanting to help, but believe me when I say, you won't even stand a chance facing someone like Beerus, even with us teaming up. Saying you're not on his level is a major understatement.
But I just want to see you guys in action. I want to see what the future me can do. Please, just let me come with you.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Kakarot for once. I'm coming with you too, and I won't accept no for an answer. I'm dying to see what you and this alleged god is capable of. Besides, either way, no matter who wins, this will be our last and only opportunity to see what you're capable of. Don't rob us of this experience.
On the one hand, Gogeta wondered if he'd be putting Raditz and his past self in danger by bringing them with him. Not only that, but Gogeta would have most likely had to go Super Saiyan Blue to match Beerus, assuming that form would be enough. And he wasn't sure past Goku and Raditz were ready to see such a radical transformation. Doing so would have just changed the trajectory of their futures. But that was when Gogeta realized that their futures had been altered drastically already.
Okay, sure. But none of you guys are remotely ready for what you're about to witness.
Well, obviously. I already figured that much. I wasn't ready to witness anything that I've seen today. Whatever we're going to see, we're all probably used to it by now.
You're coming too?
Of course I am. I need to learn more about what's going on, especially since you two just claimed I could build a dragon radar that could track down planet-sized Dragon Balls in more than one universe. Besides, I do not want Broly going with you guys without me.
Especially since a part of Bulma still wanted to try and convince Broly to stay in her timeline, despite inadvertently learning she might have become Goku's or Vegeta's wife.
I'm really not sure if taking Bulma to whatever the precipice is a good idea. She could be killed. Unless, hey, Whis, my friends over there want to come with me to wherever you're planning on taking us. I know you can do some incredible things. Will you be able to keep them safe if they tag along?
Undoubtedly. If they want to give you an audience, all they'll have to do is stay close to me.
With that, Gogeta and the rest of the gang all gathered around Whis and Beerus like they were forming a prayer circle.
So how are you going to do this? Let me guess, you guys can teleport too, right? Because I'm assuming that's what I saw when you brought that portal down and ruined my dinner date with Broly.
Whoops! Apologies, Bulma. My Lord Beerus was in a rush to get here, and my method of interstellar travel isn't exactly ideal for clean landings.
Whis let out an embarrassed yet lighthearted laugh, but the angel's seemingly jovial demeanor only confused Bulma even more.
I don't get it. Are they supposed to be bad guys? Because Whis doesn't seem to be all that bad. The same goes for the kitty cat he hangs around with. Sure, he seems a bit grumpy, and he did threaten to destroy the world. But I don't know, I'm not exactly getting evil vibes from them at all. Piccolo's way scarier than either of these two.
All right, is everyone ready?
With that, Whis leaned his face slightly closer to his magical staff, mentally using it as a guide that would escort everyone around him to their destination. However, while concentrating, Whis felt and heard something faint buzzing around them. Someone or something that wasn't easily identifiable had encroached in Whis' personal space.
What is it, Whis? What are you waiting for?
Whis looked around.
I know this is going to sound odd, but I think we're being watched.
What are you talking about?
Because Whis was always in a state of a form even beyond mastered Ultra Instinct. His 5 senses were so heightened and enhanced. He was able to detect strange anomalies that were caused by organisms tinier than cells and atoms. Whis turned his head and focused his vision, squinting until he could see the miniature object that hovered right beside him. An object so tiny that it could hardly have been said to exist at all.
What? What is it? What are you looking at?
Whis was only able to vaguely identify the object. Little did the angel know, he was staring back at Dr. Zuro's spy robot, masquerading as an inconspicuous silver metallic insect who had been collecting valuable data and DNA on the deities and the 2 sane time travelers ever since they arrived at Master Roshi's.
Well, hello there. What is this?
However, back in his lab, an overly cautious and panicking Dr. Zuro had immediately realized he and his spy robot had been compromised and decided to have the spy robot retreat.
These beings are fascinating. Apparently, this Whis person was able to locate my spy based on his senses alone. I will have my drone withdraw for now just as a precaution. Besides, I've already collected enough data and cells from these outliers. It seems I might have to work on my cyborgs longer than I anticipated, because now I won't rest until they surpass the power of the gods themselves.
With that, Whis curiously watched as the suspicious robotic insect flew away from them as quickly as possible.
Hurry up, Whis. I haven't got all day. Are you trying to make this day move any slower?
Whis sighed at his impatient student. Since he didn't want to irritate Beerus any further, he chose not to mention the bizarre creature that just abandoned them only seconds ago.
We're leaving now, my lord.
However, reminded of what Trunks had told him all those years ago, Gogeta already suspected that the angel might have seen the spy robot that had been stalking Goku for the vast majority of his life. But, having enough on his plate at the moment, that was an issue he'd have to address after his rematch with the God of Destruction. Assuming he'd even survive it, Whis tapped the foot of his staff on the ground, and everyone had vanished in a beam of light as if they exploded, traveling through the same intergalactic portal that allowed Whis and Beerus to make the trek to Earth. It took Whis an hour to transport his passengers to Precipice Point, which, on the surface, looked like a cold, desolate wasteland with endless rocky terrain and skies the color of ash that bounced lightning back and forth between gray clouds. The temperature in constant turmoil, fluctuating in a similar pattern that it did in the hyperbolic time chamber. The peculiar and quite frankly unsettling planet reminded the Vegeta in Gogeta of the same planet he was on when he first transformed into a Super Saiyan, which in a way made it fitting for his and Beerus's fateful and perhaps final confrontation.
What is this place?
To be honest, not even most deities know. What we do know about this area is that it might have existed since before the multiverse was created. And although this place might look like a planet on its surface, it actually exists within its own dimension. Because of the dimension's age, and the fact that it perhaps predates time itself, those in the deity community have labeled the realm Precipice Point. The surface is seemingly endless, and the realm is comprised of the hardest element known to the multiverse. So no matter how powerful you and Lord Beerus are, you will most likely never be able to do significant damage to its terrain. This is why many gods of destruction choose this arena to settle any disputes they may have through physical combat. So, if you and Lord Beerus are going to go all out, there's no better place than the precipice.
Whis' history lesson left Gogeta and his team speechless. Raditz couldn't stop studying the terrain. If he imagined what hell looked and felt like, it might have resembled the realm they were in.
This place gives me the chills. It almost feels as if this entire planet is alive, and it is telling me I'm not welcome here. What did that blue man say? That we're in a literal other dimension? How could that blue man traverse dimensions in only a little more than an hour? What have I gotten into here? I know that Gogeta called these people gods, but did he mean literally?
Incredible. This place is giving me déjà vu. It also reminds me of the arena at the Tournament of Power.
With that, Gogeta locked eyes with Beerus, who'd already been glaring at him, Beerus still giving off an aura of complete confidence and certainty.
Whis, remember, you agreed to keep my friends safe.
Of course. They will be completely under my protection for the duration of the battle, as agreed.
With that, Whis moved closer to past Goku and his friends. Raditz immediately tensed up being beside a being who, supposedly, displayed powers that seemed out of reach for most mortal and even mythical beings. However, past Goku welcomed Whis' rather endearing presence, and so did Bulma, whose gut feeling kept telling her that Whis was every bit as polite and charming as he appeared. Broly, however, was still on guard, and the only reason he was able to keep his power and temper in check was because he didn't want to risk losing control in front of Bulma and accidentally hurt her in the process.
Ready when you are. Come at me with everything you have.
You asked for it.
With a quick scream, Gogeta's aura flared with so much force that the wind it created nearly pushed back past Goku, Raditz, and Bulma. Even Broly's knees slightly buckled when seeing Gogeta transform, since it vaguely reminded the sane brute of the battle he had with Gogeta in that other dimension. Of course, Gogeta's display of ultimate power was nothing but a gentle breeze for Whis and Beerus, whose face slightly lit up when watching his adversary's metamorphosis. Suddenly, a wild blast of gold light exploded from Gogeta's body, and when it cleared, Gogeta's audience saw that the man's hair and eyebrows were gold, and a golden aura surrounded the man's body like a visible odor. When the dust and wind settled, Past Goku and his group couldn't believe their eyes. The transformation was so shocking that Past Goku wondered if it was a result of some invisible attack Beerus might have done to Gogeta. Even Whis, who had not yet seen a Super Saiyan in this timeline, was slightly caught off guard by Gogeta's sudden burst in power.
What did he just do?
Everyone on Precipice Point, including Beerus, had the same question.
The spike in your power is, indeed, considerable. This must be the Super Saiyan transformation I vaguely witnessed in my dream.
Gogeta only confirmed Beerus's suggestion with a smirk. Neither Goku nor Bulma knew what a Super Saiyan was. Broly, having only recently become one himself, had been only vaguely familiar with the term at a distance. However, Raditz knew the phrase better than he knew the back of his hand. Except, much like this entire day, Raditz never thought a Super Saiyan was real, and he practically lost all the feeling in his body at the sight of one.
Did that Catman say what I think he did? Could that really be a Super Saiyan? I thought that was just a myth. Besides, I always thought if a Super Saiyan truly did exist, they'd look similar to our great ape transformations. But Gogeta's new form is almost majestic. Still, I could feel the heat radiating from his skin all the way from over here. Only his hair color has changed, but his presence, it feels like it's as big as a planet.
Well, Sane, it looks like my trip here wasn't a complete waste of time. Now you truly are ready to do battle. This is exhilarating.
What the two warriors didn't know at the time, however, was that the battle wasn't going to go how either of them might have wanted. With that, Gogeta charged at Beerus, and when the two clashed, their opposing energies caused a massive shockwave that would have torn through Bulma and her group like a tornado. Fortunately, Whis had effortlessly erected a barrier before the blast could touch her or her friends.
See? I told you all that you were safe with me.
Goku, however, fell on his knee when feeling Gogeta's almost offensive level of power.
What? What is it, Kakarot?
It's Gogeta. I can sense his power level and I've never in my wildest dreams could have imagined anybody being so strong. Like, I don't know how he's able to contain that power and not die from it. This guy doesn't even feel real.
But the same power that was crippling Past Goku was nothing more than casual entertainment for the god of destruction. It didn't quite reach the same level of fun Beerus experienced in his dreams, but it was close, like playing a video game on casual mode instead of hard. So far, Gogeta was faster than any mortal Beerus had ever faced, and perhaps even faster than certain gods of destruction that he knew personally.
I see you're not completely useless after all. But this is basically me just tickling you.
Quite a few of Gogeta's punches and kicks broke through Beerus's defenses and caused another bruise or scar to appear on the man's body. Beerus hadn't felt physical pain in so long he almost missed the sensation.
This guy's good. Very good. I feel invigorated. I feel alive. Yes, warrior, give me more. I need more.
Although Gogeta recognized some of his attacks were hitting Beerus, Gogeta was also smart enough and hurting enough to realize that Beerus was tagging him far more times. For every punch he landed on Beerus, Beerus landed about 5 more. And although every single punch Beerus threw felt like being hit with a planet, Gogeta could tell Beerus was only slightly breaking a sweat.
Unreal. I'm a fused Super Saiyan for crying out loud. And yet I'm only doing as well against him as I did when I first became a god a couple of years back. This guy's too damn much.
Gogeta had decided to push his Super Saiyan powers as high as they could go just for the hell of it, and although his punches and ki blasts were landing faster and harder, his attacks were only barely causing surface-level damage to his future mentor. Gogeta fully realized the gulf of power between himself and Beerus when, while fighting in the air, Beerus twirled like a ballet dancer and struck Gogeta with a spinning kick that sent him crashing into the ground with a giant thud.
What the hell was that? Kakarot, could you see their movements at all?
Just barely. I only saw flashes, and that was only when they stopped moving.
Yeah, me too.
I'm surprised you guys could even see that. To me, those two completely disappeared.
The only people who were able to see Gogeta and Beerus' universe-shattering fight in all of its glory were Broly and Whis, who already found himself impressed by Gogeta's performance. A bruised Gogeta stood up on the ground.
I haven't fought you in so long, I almost forgot how incredible you are. I didn't think going Super Saiyan would beat you, but I at least thought, thanks to being fused, I'd be able to give you a little trouble. I think all I managed to do was warm you up.
You barely even did that, Saiyan. Waking up early was harder than fighting you.
Don't lie to me. I can already tell my other Super Saiyan forms aren't going to cut it with you either. So, I guess I'll have to go divine quicker than I wanted to.
What?
Gogeta responded to Beerus by closing his eyes and posing the way he usually would when about to access his God Ki. Whis recognized what Gogeta was doing even before Beerus did. Then, with a quiet intensity, Gogeta had released the divine aura dwelling inside of him for everyone to see in all of its operatic glory. It was the first time since becoming a god himself that Beerus had truly been rattled, and at the same time inspired, by a mortal's power.
This is it. This is what I saw in my premonition. You've become a god. I can feel it. The divine energy flowing through you is absolutely astonishing. I have to say, before you die, you should take solace in knowing that you impressed me.
Still think you're gonna kill me, huh?
I have no doubt. Your power-up hasn't changed the outcome of this battle. It's only changed how long it'll take me to dismantle you and delaying my nap. I am curious, though. How did a mortal such as yourself achieve this kind of power?
Ironically, I have you and Whis to thank for that. During our battle in the future, it was because of you I figured out how to become a Super Saiyan god. Then, after being trained by Whis personally, I managed to reach a level even further beyond that. A Super Saiyan version of a Super Saiyan god.
Listening to this, Whis was becoming more and more captivated by Gogeta's remarks, wondering if he might have actually stumbled onto a potential god of destruction candidate, but also realizing that thought couldn't be anything more than a fantasy, since Gogeta technically wasn't allowed to exist in this timeline. At the same time, Bulma, Goku, and Raditz all wore the same almost traumatized expressions.
Are you guys seeing that? Now his hair changed to the same color as mine. What is going on? Is this that super whatever he was talking about just a minute ago too?
I don't know what that is. It's weird though. Just like that Beerus guy, I can't sense Gogeta's energy anymore either. It's like he completely disappeared. And remember what he told me, Raditz? He said I couldn't sense Beerus because he's some kind of god or something.
Kakarot, surely you can't be suggesting that this Gogeta has become a god too. That's impossible.
Actually, Raditz, your brother's correct. It appears your future brother and future Vegeta really did manage to tap into a power that's normally strictly hidden in the territory of the gods. How he pulled that off is beyond me. I guess future me must have made a really great teacher.
As Raditz processed this information, however, another glaring and distracting thought occurred to him.
Wait a minute. How does this blue man know my name? I never told him what it was. And how does he even know Kakarot is my brother? But I guess the question I should really be asking myself is, if this Beerus person is a god, then what the hell is the blue man? This is all so bizarre. I didn't even think the legendary Super Saiyan was real, but I knew, on the small, infinitesimal chance a Super Saiyan really existed, that was supposed to be the pinnacle of Saiyan power. The Super Saiyan should have been unrivaled. How could a form surpass even that? Well, if this Beerus really is a god in a literal sense, I suppose it would make sense that even a Super Saiyan couldn't compare to a deity.
But as Raditz pondered these questions, Gogeta and Beerus had seemingly vanished right before their eyes. This time, unlike before, neither Goku nor Raditz could even see flashes of the two divine beings. The only traces of them that were left were the shockwaves their battle caused that rippled through the dimension, and perhaps even the multiverse.
This is unbelievable. It's as if the entire planet is trembling in fear.
Raditz, can you see anything at all now?
Not a thing! All I can do is feel their fight.
Having trouble watching the fight? I can help with that. Please, everyone, direct your attention to my staff.
The staff's eye briefly glowed before its crystal ball emanated a video as clear as high definition of Gogeta and Beerus fighting in the sky.
Fortunately, I've slowed down their speed just enough so you all can follow along.
Wow, you can do that? You're awesome, Whis.
And it looks like Gogeta's holding his own, too.
The only mortal in the group who didn't need to look through Whis' staff was Broly, whose sharp, keen eyes could catch every second of Gogeta's and Beerus' battle. Meanwhile, Gogeta was decisively giving Beerus a run for his money. Whenever Beerus seemed to dominate Gogeta in a battle, Gogeta just increased his power even more to surpass Beerus' output and hit the god of destruction with a volley of kicks and punches that felt like they were coming from multiple Gogetas at once. Thanks to Beerus' mastery of Ultra Ego, every blow Gogeta delivered was also secretly making Beerus stronger to a point and more excited as well. However, admittedly, Beerus was finding it more and more difficult to keep up with, not only Gogeta's speed, but his techniques, which was supported by the near genius and combined battle IQ of Goku and Vegeta. Gogeta's and Beerus' punches and kicks kept clashing, giving each other deep cuts that might never heal, and intense body aches that were only numbed by the unparalleled adrenaline, excitement, and ferociousness that had consumed both of them. About 5 minutes into their battle, however, Gogeta knew that Beerus had marginally increased his power when he started pushing back the fused Saiyan, connecting with more punches and kicks before firing a devastating blast of purple ki that briefly knocked Gogeta out of the sky and into Precipice Point's hard surface. Out of breath and somewhat frustrated, Gogeta had decided to do the same thing he did when fighting Broly. Gogeta went for broke and tapped into his full power, the same power that initially caused him to break through dimensions in the first place. It was a power so vast and encompassing that for the first time in Gogeta's life, he saw a look that resembled genuine fear in Beerus' face.
This time-traveling mortal really is something else. Incredible.
Gogeta repeatedly kept using his instant transmission, passing Beerus around like a ping-pong ball, before crashing his elbow into Beerus' skull and sending him careening into the ground at a breakneck speed, and hit his arch-nemesis with a blast that swallowed Beerus' entire body whole.
Final flash.
The landing caused an explosion that seemingly enveloped almost the entire dimension of Precipice Point. It was a blast that surely would have killed Goku, Raditz, Bulma, and perhaps even Broly if Whis' barrier hadn't kept them all safe. And yet, despite Whis' protection, everyone inside that barrier still felt as if Gogeta's attack had struck them deep in their souls somehow. Even Raditz was feeling around his body, making absolutely sure he was still alive. Out of breath and sweating almost uncontrollably, Gogeta had descended back down to the ground among mortals. He knew that Beerus was still alive, as he could still sense the god of destruction's divine energy. But because Beerus' particular divine energy was still difficult to read in depth, because Gogeta hadn't had much practice with it, it was hard to make out how damaged Beerus really was.
I put more into that blast than I thought. I think I might be spent. I know that was a direct hit, though. What I don't know is if that was enough.
Everyone, including Whis, waited with bated breath for the smoke and debris surrounding Precipice Point to clear. When it finally did, Beerus was on the ground. Even Whis, with all of his knowledge of the multiverse, was shocked to see Beerus in the state that he was in. There was almost no space on his body that wasn't bleeding. Even when unconscious, Beerus looked like he was still in complete agony.
Oh my word!
Did Gogeta just win?
Yeah, I think he did.
Raditz, however, couldn't even rejoice at the victory with his crew. Even though he'd watched the battle through Whis' crystal ball, he felt he narrowly escaped death being caught in this petty war between gods. So much so that Raditz had almost regretted wanting to come to Precipice Point at all. Whereas Raditz was hoping to become inspired and motivated by seeing Gogeta's power, a part of him had only gotten discouraged.
What did I just see? I'm determined to become as strong as I possibly can. So determined I'm willing to put my life on the line to acquire the kind of power Gogeta has. But I can never even imagine becoming as strong as these two monsters. They make Frieza look like a joke.
Unfortunately, however, it was a victory that was short-lived. Before Gogeta could even relax and declare victory, the fused Saiyan saw Beerus's feet move ever so slightly. The sound of rocks moving and sliding seemed like the loudest sound in the entire multiverse as Beerus shifted on the ground before opening his eyes. Gogeta let out a defeated sigh as Beerus stood on his feet, as if he was literally rising from the dead. The shock on Whis' face had worn off.
Gogeta really is an impressive fighter. He had me going for a second. I figured Lord Beerus might have withstood an attack like that under normal circumstances, but I thought, because he wasn't well rested, and he'd been slacking off on his training for so many years, his laziness had cost him the battle. Looks like that wasn't the case, though.
What do you mean you knew he'd withstand that attack? Are you saying Gogeta really isn't strong enough to take on that pet of yours?
Well, he's certainly very close, but he just isn't quite there yet. But I'm sure this was a wake-up call for my lord. And that is something I'm sure he appreciates, even though he won't admit it out loud.
Appreciated enough not to blow up the Earth, you think?
It was a question Whis didn't know how to answer. Bulma saw a genuine look of sympathy and compassion come over Whis' face when the angel had told her.
That's something we both will have to wait and see on.
Meanwhile, now Beerus was fully on his feet, and although he was bleeding all over, Gogeta couldn't help but feel as though Beerus's clothes were more damaged than Beerus was. All the injuries Gogeta had given the god of destruction seemed to amount to nothing more than mere flesh wounds.
40%.
What? What do you mean?
That's how much of my power you forced me to use today. 40%. Or hell, maybe it was more. Maybe it was less. It's been so long since I had a decent fight that I can't really tell how much I hold back anymore. It's all arbitrary to me. What I do know is that you forced me to use a portion of my abilities that is, indeed, significant. And for that, time traveler, you have my praise.
Oh crap, he can't be serious. I knew Beerus was holding back, but I thought that Final Flash would have been strong enough to make up what little difference there is between us. I'd like to believe he's bluffing, but I guess I knew deep down that wouldn't be enough to put the cat down.
I can see why the future me kept you around. You gave me one hell of a show. If you were actually from this timeline, I probably would let Whis take you under his wing. But as a god of destruction, I just can't allow you to continue distorting this timeline any further than you have. I am not as soft as the Beerus you knew, and for the sake of my own authority, I need to keep it that way.
Yeah, sure. I get it. You don't have to keep repeating yourself, but you talk as if this fight's over already. I have plenty more tricks up my sleeve. I'm not going to quit, Beerus.
Unfortunately, that's not up to you.
With that, Beerus folded his hands behind his back, and for the first time in his life, he powered up to access a significant portion of his power. Perhaps it was 50%, perhaps it was 75%. Not even Beerus knew nowadays. However, the purple glow that surrounded Beerus's body and the dramatic and rapid increase of his divine power, which was driven by pure ego, had drilled it into Gogeta's skull that he might have never stood a chance at all. Precipice Point had shaken even harder than it did during Gogeta's and Beerus's battle, to the point where Bulma couldn't even stand on her 2 feet, and Broly had to catch her before she fell to the ground. When Beerus had finished powering up, an already exhausted and somewhat depowered Gogeta was briefly and momentarily frozen stiff. Beerus had never looked so terrifying.
So I won't prolong your suffering. I'll make this quick.
Determined to keep his word, Beerus went on the offensive. Gogeta couldn't even see the god of destruction as he appeared in front of him and overwhelmed him with a flurry of attacks that Gogeta simply had no answer for. Beerus was moving so fast that it almost seemed as if he was standing still while manhandling the fused Saiyan. Beerus slammed Gogeta into the ground, threw him into canyons that bounced him back, and struck him with a barrage of energy attacks that tore through Gogeta's skin as easily as it tore through his clothes. Then, Beerus put a period at the end of their fight with a simple, yet powerful, punch to the jaw as if to make a statement. Gogeta had crashed back into the ground and, lying on his back, his blue hair had completely faded to black, and his body, which was failing him, couldn't produce any more aura to comfort him. However, despite every single one of his limbs being useless, as if they were practically dead weight, Gogeta still managed, by the grace of Kami, to stand on his 2 feet. But barely. As Beerus sauntered over to Gogeta, he almost wanted to applaud the fused Saiyan for his resilience, but at the same time, wanted to scold him for his stubbornness. Beerus took a moment to stand in front of an already barely alive Gogeta. At this point, Gogeta knew he had nothing left to offer Beerus other than his life. But if he was going to die, he wanted to at least be on his feet and look at the god of destruction dead in his eye.
I'm not done yet. You can't kill me, Beerus. You'll never be able to kill me, even if I die.
A poetic choice of last words. But you are right, time traveler. I won't be able to kill you. Because even after I destroy your body, I assure you, you will continue to live on in my memory. I might even see you in my dreams again.
Beerus raised his arm and aimed his open palm at the fused warrior. Meanwhile, everyone inside of Whis' barrier was panicking. Even Whis himself, to a certain extent, was hoping that Beerus would spare Gogeta, who had proven himself to be a promising young talent.
Is this really going to happen? Whis, can't you do something? Him being here is not his fault. He didn't mean to wake anyone up early. He doesn't even want to be here.
I'm sorry, Bulma. If it were up to me, maybe I would interfere. But, admittedly, as a god of destruction, there are certain laws my lord has to abide by. And, if I had to guess, he's concerned if he spares Gogeta now, he'll end up as forgiving and vulnerable as his future counterpart. In a way, it's almost as if Beerus is trying to destroy a side of himself, so he can remain who he is. But perhaps I'll be able to convince my lord to spare your planet at least.
But as Bulma processed the information, Broly was already rearing to fight. His hands forming 2 giant fists, Broly had told Whis, as if he was warning the angel.
Whis, let me out of here. I'll stop him myself.
Oh!
But as Whis contemplated giving up his barrier so Broly could take a crack at Beerus, it might have already been too late. A giant ball of purple ki had escaped Beerus's hand and approached Gogeta at the speed of light with murderous intent. Gogeta didn't know where he found the strength. Perhaps it was reflexive, but he dug deep down to raise both of his arms. The purple ball of destructive energy crashed into Gogeta's hands, burning through his palms, as Gogeta screamed in agony while trying to push the ball of destruction back. The ball of destruction was winning, and was only seconds away from overtaking Gogeta completely and Hakkaiing him from existence. But just as Gogeta's body was about to give in, a familiar dam of energy he hadn't felt since the Tournament of Power had burst. A different aura had started to surround Gogeta now. Suddenly, the same ball of destruction Gogeta had struggled against mere seconds ago, he was now holding back casually. So much so, it felt like the ball of destruction had come from him. Letting out a roar that sounded far mightier than the roars of the great apes Saiyans could turn into, Gogeta sent the purple ball of destruction back towards Beerus, who had to duck to dodge it. Beerus's mind told him to continue attacking Gogeta, but his body froze. His mouth gaped open. His assistant, Whis, was equally as shocked by what they were seeing.
Oh man, what now? Is this another super whatever transformation he's doing?
No, this is different. It can't be. It can't be this. It's impossible. Not even most gods can attain this power.
This is the first time I've seen the Blue Man lose his composure since I've met him. If he's reacting like that, then whatever Gogeta's doing must be incredible. Or terrifying.
What Raditz didn't know was that what Gogeta was doing was both of those things. The god of destruction cleared his throat, and his body did something it couldn't believe it did. It took a couple of steps backwards, instinctively backing away from Gogeta without Beerus's consent.
That's impossible. I don't care who trained you. No one could have taught you to reach this form. I want to believe this is a joke or a trick of some sort. But I can tell, I can feel it in my bones. This is it. You've somehow achieved it. This is autonomous Ultra Instinct. How did a mortal like you achieve such an elite-level divine technique? Tell me.
However, when in this state, Gogeta only knew how to primarily communicate with others, using his fists. Now a man of few words, all Gogeta had told Beerus was,
I told you you wouldn't be able to kill me.
Beerus growled, both threatened, disturbed, and even slightly excited that a mere mortal had access to technique even Beerus had difficulty learning. This made Beerus want to kill him immediately, but also made the god of destruction want to keep him around to learn more about this peculiar warrior. Beerus, however, refused to allow his internal conflict to interfere with his battle. Although he wasn't exactly sure he'd need to tap into the rest of his power, he did so anyway, as a precaution. The dimension they were fighting in, known as Precipice Point, felt like it was about to crack under the weight of Beerus's godly wrath, as if the unbreakable dimension had met its match in Beerus's strength. Although Broly, Bulma, and the rest of the people in Whis' barrier were shaking about as hard as the dimension while Beerus charged his power, Gogeta couldn't have been any more unfazed. The fused Saiyan was so calm that his energy even gave Whis a few chills, which was a rarity for the angel. Gogeta was somewhat surprised to see that Beerus had bulked up a bit when powering up, and had gotten slightly larger as a result. After Beerus finished powering up, he wasted no time and flew towards Gogeta like a bullet. Beerus tried to hit Gogeta with a flurry of kicks, punches, and other martial arts maneuvers, but Gogeta had dodged Beerus' attacks with so much grace that to Whis, it seemed as though the Saiyan was dancing. It reminded Whis how some of his fellow angels moved when engaging in combat. Perhaps the only thing more graceful than Gogeta's dodges were his attacks, with each punch, kick, and ki blast he delivered, connecting with Beerus's body with deadly accuracy and precision.
I can't lay a finger on him. He hits as fast as he dodges, and it still feels like he's not even trying. It's almost like fighting Whis.
And as Beerus had gotten more and more desperate to land some kind of a blow, Gogeta was only getting calmer, because as the fight went on, it only became clearer that the god of destruction's power paled in comparison to Ultra Instinct. After he was done giving his newfound abilities another test run, Gogeta felt he needed to finish off Beerus as quickly. What followed was akin to a massacre, with Gogeta overwhelming Beerus with his attacks. Finally, manipulating his ki, Gogeta had manifested a colorful ki ball that looked as though it was made out of a rainbow. It was a ball so beautiful that it looked deceptive in the amount of destructive and malicious power it contained. When he threw the energy ball at Beerus, to the god of destruction, it felt like the entire multiverse had collapsed in on him. After the blast, once again, there was a blanket of dust surrounding and covering the area where Beerus was. Back inside Whis' barrier, past Goku, Raditz, Bulma, and even Broly were absolutely floored by the performance they just witnessed. Even Whis, despite his own power, couldn't even close his mouth after seeing the innate talent Gogeta had shown. For the first time in millions of years, Whis had wondered if Lord Beerus had finally met his match.
Did I just kill him?
His heart dropped like an anchor at the thought. And even Whis wondered if his student might have joined the afterlife, since his god ki was so faint it seemed hardly there. But both Gogeta and Whis received their answers when Beerus slightly shifted on the ground, his wounds burning even more when he groaned as he slowly stood up on his 2 feet. Gogeta looked even more shocked. Even though it was clear Beerus wasn't in any condition to fight, the fused Saiyan was both impressed and slightly disturbed that Beerus was able to withstand an attack like that. Coughing up blood and wincing, Beerus had told Gogeta,
"Counting me out. Already? You think an attack like that could put me down? I'm just getting warmed up."
What is wrong with this guy? Does he not know when to quit?
Well, gods are often known for their strong wills, Bulma. It is not in their nature to admit defeat.
Which was also one of the reasons why Beerus was such a master of Ultra Ego. which he was secretly in the process of using to replenish his ki. If Beerus was able to finish the Ultra Ego healing process, perhaps the technique would have given him a considerable boost in strength that would have allowed him to surpass Gogeta's. But that was a big if.
Come on, let's go.
You can't be serious. I've won the battle. If this goes on any further, there's a good chance I'll kill you.
Shut up. As long as I am standing, this battle isn't over. And because I am who I am going to be standing for as long as I am alive. You are going to have to kill me to win this fight. Come on, mortal. Hit me. Attack me. Do your worst.
However, Gogeta refused. At this point, attacking Beerus would have been like kicking around a house cat, just aimless, wanton torture with no meaning, substance, or excitement behind it.
What are you relaxing for? How many times do I have to get it through your thick skull? This battle isn't over.
A purple aura glowed around Beerus's hand, and the god of destruction was about to throw another energy blast at his greatest opponent when it happened. Gogeta's time limit had run out, and blood had poured from every crack in his skin. With a scream so loud and terrifying that it shook everyone, including Broly, to their core, Gogeta collapsed and writhed in the ground before his hair had turned black and black electricity crackled around him. His body looked as though it was folding in on itself. His energy was burning. It was as if the divine ki he'd wielded so elegantly had turned against him. In the back of Gogeta's mind, he knew that the same thing that had happened in the Tournament of Power had happened now during his fight with Beerus. Except his Ultra Instinct faded even quicker than it did back then, and the withdrawal effects were 10 times more agonizing than they were the last time this occurred as well. This was because, unbeknownst to Gogeta, the Vegeta in him was completely incompatible with Ultra Instinct in every way, and this eventually forced his fused body to violently reject the sacred technique. Even Whis couldn't help but cringe a bit seeing the toll the divine technique had on the fused warrior.
Whis, what's going on? Did Beerus do that to him?
No, it was the ability he used. It's obvious he didn't have much practice with it, and now his body's paying the consequences.
What?
Beerus watched as Gogeta continued writhing on the ground, completely immobile, his arms and legs twisted as if they were broken.
Damn it, this isn't the way I wanted to win. This is absolutely pathetic. I can't accept victory like this. But at the same time, is it really my fault that he didn't take the time to master such a divine technique before using it today? After all, a soldier should know how to use a gun before heading off to war. Whether I like it or not, it doesn't matter. As a god of destruction, I must keep my word. I must prevent myself from becoming the soft, vulnerable, mortal-friendly Beerus I become in the future at all costs.
With that, Beerus's body started to glow purple again as he used his mastery of Ultra Ego to turn the battle damages he sustained into protein and energy. Then, Beerus aimed an open palm at the man. Gogeta was so injured that he could only open one eye to look at Beerus with.
So, this is how you really want to win, huh?
I don't want any of this. You forced my hand, and I must keep my word. Unlike me, you can no longer stand. This means you have lost.
Whis, remove the barrier and take me to Beerus right now!
Bulma, stop. What are you planning to do?
Just trust me, okay? I got a feeling about him. I'm gonna try to get through to him.
I wouldn't recommend this, Bulma.
With a final scream, Bulma had shouted,
Whis, take me there now!
With a sigh, Whis reacted as if he was listening to Lord Beerus himself and removed the barrier before teleporting Bulma and her crew to Beerus, who had traveled hundreds of miles away from Bulma and the others during his fight with Gogeta. Beerus was startled as Whis and the gang appeared right next to Beerus in a bright explosion. Before Beerus could get a word out, Bulma ran in front of him, standing between the god of destruction and Gogeta like a referee, as if she was the most powerful being on the planet.
Bulma, where the hell did you come from? You shouldn't be anywhere near here.
What do you think you're doing, mortal?
Listen to me! I know you don't want to do this, just like I know you're not a bad person. I can tell.
Bulma, get out of there.
However, Bulma had ignored Broly and continued.
I've seen seen some really bad guys in my time, and I know that you're not one of them. So please, just let Gogeta go. You really want to kill him after everything he's just shown you? Don't you think that would be a waste?
Of course I don't want to kill him, but it is not up to me. He does not belong in this timeline. I have strict orders from my superiors to eliminate any and all transgressors and trespassers of time. Future Beerus might be willing to look the other way regarding such matters, but I am not. Now I am only going to tell you once. Move, woman.
Make me. If you want to get to Gogeta, you're gonna have to hit a frail little lady like me. Imagine that. A big, powerful god of destruction picking on an average girl.
Bulma, get out of there. Stop this.
Bulma wouldn't listen. Instead, she waited for Beerus to back down, and for a minute, it seemed like he had. Beerus's face had relaxed as much as his body, and Bulma took this as a sign that he had relented. Unfortunately, however, Beerus had only crawled back inside of himself and reminded himself of his own authority.
So be it.
With that, Beerus had slapped Bulma almost the same way he did when the future him hit Bulma at her 38th birthday party. The slap echoed around the dimension, and Goku quickly flew over to Bulma to catch her before she hit the ground. However, Goku quickly noticed that Bulma suffered more than just a mark on her cheek. Her neck had looked slightly lopsided, almost twisted. Her eyes were open, but they were completely devoid of pupils or any signs of life for that matter. Unlike his future counterpart, Beerus had exerted so much energy when fighting Gogeta that even though he was recovering, his God Ki was still out of whack. So he lacked the restraint to hold back the energy that he needed to avoid doing significant harm to Bulma. Goku pressed his 2 fingers on Bulma's pulse. It was completely silent. Goku's hands immediately started shaking, and he felt tears well up in his eyes. If his power level was high enough, the low-class Saiyan warrior might have turned into a Super Saiyan right there.
You killed her! You killed one of my best friends!
Despite all of the pain his body was putting him through, hearing that sentence from Goku was perhaps the words that hurt Gogeta the most. And although Beerus had certainly made him bleed during their battle, it was the first time Beerus had made Gogeta cry, which might have been far worse. With grief tugging at his heart, Gogeta had whined,
No. It can't be. There's no way.
Unbeknownst to both Goku and Gogeta, however, Beerus also felt a strange sense of guilt over his actions. He only meant to incapacitate the poor woman, not murder her. It was only after Bulma's corpse lay in Goku's hands, completely still, that the god of destruction had realized he truly did develop a fondness for some of these humans, after all.
I didn't mean to. My ki is still malfunctioning somewhat thanks to my fight with Gogeta. I meant to hold back, but
Beerus took a deep breath to calm himself down.
Why am I trying to explain myself to these people? I am a god of destruction. I've destroyed entire planets made up of women who are probably exactly like that mortal without batting an eye. Why is this any different?
Despite asking himself that question, Beerus still wasn't able to shake off his remorse, which was only growing more and more by the second. In the end, he had no choice but to give in to his conscience.
Whis.
Yes, my lord?
But before Beerus could ask Whis to revive Bulma, he was quickly interrupted by an angry, vengeful, vindictive scream that had come from Broly. After Beerus struck Bulma, the legendary Super Saiyan had almost immediately lost control.
Oh, crap.
Broly, who was already big for his size, had bulked up slightly more, and since his body had already tasted the delicious ki of Super Saiyan energy as well, in his unbridled rage, Broly managed to access the same green mutated Super Saiyan form he accessed during his fight with Gogeta in that other dimension. Whis nearly dropped his staff witnessing, and being so close to, the immense power Broly was demonstrating. It was like watching a planet exploding.
Oh my. Seems you have someone else to worry about, my lord.
However, Beerus didn't hear a word Whis said, as he was completely taken back by Broly's immense strength.
Of course. The other time traveler. I almost forgot about him. But this key is massive. It's ridiculous. I had no idea he'd be this powerful. Maybe if I was at full power and well-rested, I'd be able to handle this. But now...
Beerus had tried to rush the healing properties of his Ultra Ego, but it was too late. Broly was on the attack. And what Beerus also didn't know was that because of Broly's unique genetic makeup, he had received a sizable increase in power thanks to the Zenkai boost he received from his last battle. And Beerus immediately recognized Broly's power firsthand when the legendary Super Saiyan began relentlessly pummeling the god of destruction. Once again, both Raditz and Goku, who clung onto the body of Vegeta's dead wife, couldn't see anything but the shockwaves Broly produced as he punched and kicked Beerus around like a soccer ball. To Beerus, Broly didn't move with the same elegance and grace that Gogeta did when he tapped into Ultra Instinct. Broly was just an animal in attack mode, mauling Beerus without any finesse or technique, throwing ki blasts that detonated in the god's face like bombs. And dragging his face across precipice points, hard, cold ground as if he was using it as a shovel. When Broly had flung Beerus into the air, Beerus shook his head and, out of breath, charged up the last reserves of God Ki he had. Bulking up until his muscles stretched out his skin, Beerus screamed at the tip of his lungs, "Hakai!" However, on instinct, Broly opened his mouth, and with a giant scream, a giant green ki blast had also launched out of his own mouth, one that was every bit as destructive and powerful as Beerus's Hakai. Beerus's arm struggled against the blast, trembling so hard he could feel his bones cracking.
This is impossible. How can one unfused mortal possess so much power? This doesn't make any sense.
The last thing Beerus thought was that he immediately regretted waking up and trying to fulfill that premonition of his, before Broly's incredible green ki blast had broken through Beerus's Hakai. At the last second, Beerus surrounded himself with a purple barrier in a last-ditch effort to save himself, before Broly's energy blast collided and seemed to consume Beerus whole. Whis watched peculiarly as Beerus's body fell to the ground with a giant thud, landing just a couple of feet away from his attendant. The angel was surprised that his god of destruction still even had a body at all.
Whis, did he just kill Beerus?
I'm not sure.
Meanwhile, Raditz was also crippled with fear after the massacre he'd just witnessed.
I don't believe this. You mean to tell me that this Broly person is a Super Saiyan too? And unlike Gogeta, Broly looks exactly how I always pictured a Super Saiyan to be. Primal, ruthless, indestructible, and unmatched. It's almost exactly like our great ape transformations. But at the same time, it's also the most frightening thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never been as terrified as I am right now.
His mind still in destruction mode, Broly had looked around to find more victims to massacre. He immediately saw Gogeta, and the primal state of his mind had recalled all of the pain Gogeta had put him through during their last contest of wills. Gogeta saw that Broly noticed him, and barely had enough time and energy to stand up before Broly went in for the kill. Gogeta struggled to raise his arm, attempting to fire a ki blast, hoping and praying that the power of Ultra Instinct would save him the same way that it saved him from Beerus. But it didn't. And just like that, a weakened, exhausted, and paralyzed Gogeta had no choice but to stand there as Broly flew in front of him and fired another raging energy blast at the fused warrior that Gogeta had no answer for. When the energy blast cleared, the fused warrior was nowhere to be seen. The only piece of him that remained was a shred of his clothes as it floated towards the ground below.
Did he just... There's no way! Gogeta, he's gone!
Raditz was so horrified that he was gasping for air. After killing Gogeta, Broly had turned around and set his sights on Goku. He was seconds away from sending the Earth-based Saiyan to the same place that he sent Gogeta to. However, that was when Broly noticed Bulma's lifeless body lying in Goku's arms, and as if it were a shield, Bulma's body was the only thing preventing a primitive Broly from striking Goku. With that in mind, the legendary Super Saiyan had set his sights on the next best thing. Whis, the mysterious blue figure who'd come to Earth with Beerus. and, in Broly's irrational mind, might as well have equally been responsible for Bulma's death. Broly had charged towards Whis with startling ferocity.
Blue man, look out!
However, Whis completely ignored Raditz and continued walking towards Beerus, who wasn't emitting any God Ki or even life energy that Whis could detect. Broly was only seconds away from Whis when Whis had manifested a barrier large enough to cover himself, Beerus, and Raditz all at the same time. As a determined Broly pounded relentlessly at Whis' barrier, trying everything that he could to break through. Whis had turned Beerus over and checked his pulse. Because he was an angel, one of the laws Whis had to abide by was that if his god of destruction was destroyed, Whis must effectively hibernate until a new god of destruction was crowned. This meant that, if Beerus was dead, he wasn't sure if it was within his authority to interfere and neutralize Broly. Regrettably, he might have had to abandon the remaining two Saiyans here on Precipice Point and report this incident to the Grand Priest for Zeno to take care of it. However, when he pressed his fingers on Beerus' throat, he discovered that his lord was still alive. Barely alive, but alive nonetheless. Whis had smiled. Given the unusual circumstances of the situation, Whis slightly went against Angel Protocol and aimed his staff at Beerus. The staff glowed, and suddenly, both Raditz and Goku watched in absolute shock as all of Beerus' cuts and bruises were healed immediately, and the god of destruction opened his eyes, standing up healthy and in mint condition as if he wasn't near death just minutes ago. To Goku, Whis' magic had reminded him of the healing properties of the Senzu beans, and yet not even Korin's beans healed as efficiently as Whis did. But to Raditz, he'd never seen anything like that in his entire life.
Did that blue man just bring back Beerus from the brink of death? What in the world? How did he do that?
In all actuality, Beerus was just as surprised by Whis' actions as the two Saiyan brothers were.
My goodness, Whis. Did you really just do that? I thought angels weren't allowed to heal their gods of destruction.
I believe it depends on the circumstances, my lord. If you had lost to Broly in a more official capacity, of course I would have let you die, and I would have designated him as the next god of destruction. But Broly, technically, had gotten significant help from Gogeta before he defeated you. And given that Broly isn't exactly in his right mind, I couldn't bestow him the title of God of Destruction even if I wanted to. So I felt I was well within my rights to resuscitate you back to health, my lord. Although I'm sure I took advantage of a bit of a gray area to do so.
Interesting.
Beerus turned to look at Broly, who, after seeing Beerus not only alive but awake again, had only gotten angrier and had punched the barrier with far more aggression, each attack harder and more powerful than the last.
Oh, for goodness sake, what do I do with you?
With you back to full health, I imagine you should be able to take care of him now, my lord. Unless you have other plans.
Beerus glanced over at Bulma's body, a pang of guilt clawing at his heart. Then he looked around and saw no signs of Gogeta anywhere.
I take it, while I was unconscious, this uncontrollable brute killed Gogeta too, huh?
He certainly did. Looks like he might have done your job for you.
Beerus clenched his fists so hard that his palms hurt. He hated what he was about to ask Whis. It felt as if, despite all of his efforts to hold on to who he really was destined to become the softer Beerus that Goku knew in the future. But he couldn't deny that during his battle with Gogeta, something in him, something he couldn't identify, had shifted.
How long has it been since Gogeta's death, Whis?
Well, technically, it's probably been around 5 minutes, but as you know, time works differently in Precipice Point. A minute can technically stretch for hours. So, if you want me to do what I think you want me to do, you have plenty of time.
Beerus sucked his teeth.
Then just do it before I hate myself even more. This is disgusting.
Do what? What are you two talking about?
Oh, Raditz. I almost forgot you were there. I have the ability to turn back time.
You can what?
I'm only allowed to rewind time by 3 minutes. But since we're at Precipice Point, 3 minutes is practically a lifetime here. So, I should be able to rewind things back to the way they were. Of course, since you're in this barrier with me, you'll be the only one who'll notice the reversal.
At this point, despite everything he'd seen, Raditz's suspension of disbelief had been pushed to its limits.
Impossible. You're bluffing. I don't care if you're gods, no one can or should have that ability.
Okay, if you say so. How about I rewind back to where before you killed Bulma? That seems like a good point to restart the game.
Fine, just hurry up and do it.
With that, Raditz watched as his staff glowed again, and everything outside of Whis' barrier looked like it was literally rewinding. The mid-class Saiyan felt he had swallowed his tongue when, after Whis stopped going backwards, he saw Bulma, Gogeta, Goku, and Broly in the exact same positions that they were in before Beerus had smacked her. Afterwards, Whis had deconstructed his barrier. Bulma, who was in front of a battle-wounded and exhausted Gogeta, had looked around Precipice Point for Beerus before turning around and seeing that he was standing right behind her this entire time.
Hey, how the hell did you get all the way over there?
Beerus smirked.
Maybe I was here this entire time. You just weren't paying attention.
Gogeta, Goku, and Broly had all noticed that Beerus was completely 100% healthy. This was odd, considering that he was exhausted and on the brink of death only a couple of minutes ago. Goku had no idea how Beerus went from almost croaking to looking like his best self within a blink of an eye. But Gogeta had already deduced that Whis might have already used his time reversal ability to undo the last couple of minutes. After all, it was the same power that Whis used when they all fought Frieza back on Earth a couple of years ago. Still, without missing a beat, Bulma had approached Beerus and demanded that he spare Gogeta after their dimension-shattering battle. After Bulma pleaded with Beerus, instead of slapping her, Beerus had agreed to her proposal.
Fine.
Although it was the response Bulma had wanted to hear, she didn't believe Beerus would actually let Gogeta go. So much so that his response struck her almost as hard as Beerus's slap did.
What do you mean, fine?
You're right. Both Broly and Gogeta have earned my unyielding respect with their performances today. As much as I can't stand the fact that they traveled through time, I can't deny that it would feel wrong to murder them both in cold blood. It's well within my right to do so, but I am giving them a pass. Consider yourselves lucky.
Wait, hold on a minute. What do you mean Broly earned your respect? You've never even fought before.
Actually, we did, before I reversed time.
Everyone shared the same shock reaction at Beerus's claim. Everyone except Gogeta, who had been a beneficiary of Whis' time reversal abilities when Frieza destroyed the Earth a couple of years ago.
You reversed time? How and why did you do that?
You don't need to concern yourself with the details, mortal. Just be glad that Broly and Gogeta convinced me to let them live to see another day. However, this is on the condition that Broly and Gogeta keep their end of the bargain. They need to find the Super Dragon Balls so that they can get the hell out of this timeline.
Of course. You bet. I'd want nothing more. Bulma, you'd be able to build a dragon radar capable of detecting Dragon Balls out in space, right?
Well, according to Beerus, it's not like I'd have a choice, so yeah. But what about Broly? I mean, does he have to return to his timeline? Does he even want to go back there?
Yeah, Bulma's right. I think I want to stay here. Not only because I get to stay with Bulma, but my father. He's still alive in this timeline. Maybe I'll be able to see him again.
Look, I'm sorry, but absolutely not. I cannot allow one time traveler to stay on Earth, let alone two. Especially when I'm guessing there's another Broly somewhere out there in this timeline too. This is his timeline, not yours. You need to go. Like I said, it is a shame, but that is the law. But surely there must be someone waiting for you back in your timeline that currently misses you. Or am I wrong?
At first, Broly thought that yes, Beerus was wrong, but that was when he remembered that Chi-Lai was still stuck in the past and was probably worried sick about him. For all she knew, Broly might have been dead. Much to Bulma's disappointment, Broly had relented and said,
"Okay, I'll go."
And instead of celebrating, all Bulma felt like doing was mourning. However, she vowed to enjoy Broly's company for as long as she had him, which was a considerable amount of time since it would take her a while before she could build a radar capable of locating the Super Dragon Balls. Pressed for time, it had taken Bulma several weeks of almost non-stop work for her to build a necessary dragon radar. She could only go by Gogeta's description of what the Super Dragon Balls looked like, and surmised she needed to build a larger, much more powerful dragon radar capable of detecting the Dragon Balls. However, during that period, Bulma divided her time between building her dragon radar and hanging out with Broly, who she now only had very limited time with before he returned to his timeline. Broly, however, was also getting some work done of his own. Whis, curious about his and Gogeta's powers, had decided to train them sporadically on Beerus's planet, where Raditz and Goku were also allowed to visit from time to watch. Similarly, Gogeta would also train with Raditz and Goku, having the two fight him simultaneously. For Gogeta, it was harder to not hurt them than it was to do so. However, despite the massive power difference between himself and the past Saiyans, training with him had caused a sizable jump in power for both Goku and Raditz, which Gogeta was proud to see. Still, both Goku and Raditz were in somewhat of a rush to become Super Saiyans. Gogeta had told them both he was almost sure they both would eventually transform, but Goku wouldn't have been able to transform as easily as he wanted to.
To be honest, even after being a Super Saiyan for all these years, I'm not too sure how the form works myself. Everyone accesses it differently. But one common denominator is that you need to hit a specific level of power to be able to transform. That, and typically, you need to experience an almost uncontrollable fury to unlock the power. Right now, you guys are unbelievably far away from that. But you'll get there. You two have my genes after all.
A month had passed before this version of Bulma was finally able to build a dragon radar capable of locating the Super Dragon Balls. After she was done, everyone had gathered in front of her Capsule Corp home, alongside Beerus and Whis, to say their goodbyes.
I will never forget you, Broly. I don't know who the future me is married to, but she's cheating herself not being with a guy like you.
Gogeta had to bite his tongue hearing Bulma's comment. The only reason he was able to restrain himself was that, depending on how long it'd take to find the Super Dragon Balls, he was probably only a week or so away from returning to his family. Gogeta's plan was simple. He'd use the Super Dragon Balls here to return to his timeline, and perhaps use the regular Dragon Balls back in the future to defuse. Well, of course, that was assuming Gogeta would have wanted to do that at all, seeing as he enjoyed actually sticking around for longer than 30 minutes for once.
Man, I won't lie. I obviously wish you didn't have to go. You still have so much to teach me. I don't think me and Raditz are ever gonna get as strong as you without you tutoring us.
Fortunately for you guys, you won't have to worry about getting stronger. I spoke to Whis earlier, and I convinced him to take you two on as students after I'm gone.
Both Goku and Raditz couldn't believe the news.
Are you serious, Blue Man?
Gogeta made a compelling argument, and I have agreed to train you two. But only on the condition that you brothers make noticeable improvements in a year's time. Understand that this is quite an undertaking for me. Normally, I wouldn't even think about taking on students as weak as you are. But after seeing Goku's potential, I believe I'm the only one in the multiverse capable of helping the present version of Goku reach similar heights. And given that you're his brother, Raditz, I expect the same kind of greatness from you. With that said, if you two do not live up to my expectations in 1 year, I will not waste my time and energy to train you anymore. I need you two to give it your all, and understand that, because of your, with all due respect, abysmal power levels, there is a likely chance that you will die during this process.
Chi-Chi would be mad at me for saying this, but I don't even care. Sign me up, Whis. If I let you down, I might deserve to die anyway.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with my moron of a brother. I want to become a Super Saiyan. I want to achieve the kind of feats I saw Gogeta and Broly did with my own eyes. I want to enter the realm of the gods. I won't rest until that happens.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
What Raditz and Past Goku didn't know back then was that Whis choosing to train them couldn't have come at a better time. Raditz had no idea that his two Saiyan comrades, Nappa and Vegeta, were making a beeline to planet Earth. Vegeta was curious about the power level Raditz had picked up on his scouter a month and some change ago. Assuming that Raditz had perished after confronting this mysterious warrior, Prince Vegeta and Nappa had decided to go to Earth to investigate. Whether Raditz and Past Goku would end up strong enough to take on Vegeta and Nappa, however, is a story for another time.
Are you ready to go back to your timeline so you can get the hell out of my hair, Saiyans?
Of course.
I'm ready too.
But before I go, there's something I need to tell you, Goku. It's about your own future.
Gogeta had been meaning to tell his past self for quite some time that he was currently being spied on by Dr. Zuro's spy bots, who was also most likely collecting their DNA to later give birth to Cell. Not only that, but Gogeta wanted to warn Past Goku about the heart virus he was once destined to die from. If he had told Past Goku and Bulma about the heart virus now, perhaps Bulma would have been able to work on an antidote early. Unfortunately, however, that was when Beerus intervened.
That's enough, Saiyan. I do not want you telling your past self anything else about the future. You've mucked up this timeline far too much already.
But Lord Beerus, this is really important. There are some things the past version of me has to know. If I don't tell him now, I don't know how things will go.
Well, with all due respect, that's what life's all about. Look, I don't know what you've been through, but I assume you've had your fair share of trials and tribulations. You would have had to in order to achieve the incredible power you wield right now. You need to trust your past self that he'll be able to weather his own trials and tribulations and come out the other side a stronger fighter because of it. After all, you had to figure things out as you went along in your timeline, no? I'm sure no one gave you a heads up about the future for you to become the person you are today.
Ironically, Gogeta had immediately thought about future Trunks, who, if not for him, he wouldn't even be here right now. Little did Whis know, he was basically validating Gogeta's concerns. However, at this point, Gogeta felt he had no choice but to trust Whis' instincts.
Hell, this timeline's so messed up right now. Maybe there's a chance past me won't get the heart virus anyway.
With that, Gogeta and Broly stood alongside Beerus and Whis, with Gogeta holding the large dragon radar they were going to use to find the Dragon Balls. An emotional Bulma, Raditz, and Past Goku all waved their goodbyes before Gogeta and his group disappeared in a colorful beam of light.
All right, son. Now, let's try this one more time. Don't try to destroy anything too much. Just aim your hand and fire a small blast, like so.
Okay, let me try one more time.
Of course, once again, when Broly fired a ki blast, it was far too powerful and more explosive than what Paragus wanted.
Damn it, Broly.
Sorry, I thought I finally got the hang of it.
Taking a deep breath, Paragus composed himself to avoid rattling his son.
No, it's fine. You actually managed to restrain your power better than you did last week, son.
Really? I did?
Absolutely. Obviously, you're not good enough yet to get that collar off of you, but we're getting there.
I hope we get there fast.
Of course, Paragus was lying and had already seen his son as a lost cause.
If anything, his power has even gotten even more destructive, even when he's not trying to hurt anyone. So, needless to say, that collar isn't going anywhere.
Excuse me.
Both Paragus and Broly momentarily thought they were hearing things. It had been so long since they heard anything except their own voices that they briefly forgot what another person might have sounded like. They only realized they weren't alone on planet Vampa anymore, when a man with blue skin, wearing a strange wardrobe that looked like royalty, approached them slowly with a welcoming smile.
Who the hell are you?
A friend, and hopefully your son's teacher, if you'd allow me the privilege.
What? What are you even saying? And how did you get here?
Oh, my apologies. My name is Whis, and I'm here to save both of you from this rather uncomfortable planet, and that's putting it mildly. You see, I am currently training 2 other full-blooded Saiyans, and I am looking to adopt Broly as my 3rd student. I am quite fascinated by his abilities, and believe he'd make an incredible candidate for a god of destruction one day if he's able to refine his power. That's why I would like to train him earlier, to make sure your son realizes his best self as quickly as possible. In return, of course, you and your son will finally be able to leave this dreadful world that you regrettably call home. I promise the environment I offer you both will be a much-needed upgrade from what you're accustomed to. So, what say you, Broly? Are you interested?